Uh, Before we get into it,
Yo, hold up. Yo, what up? What up? What up? And welcome back to Pinoy News, man. Listen, welcome. You know, what I mean, we got a hell of a thing today. TK, man, you was about to say before we get into it. What do you want to talk about, man? What do you got to say?
I just saw a book that you might like. I don't know if you've read it yet. It's called Jihad versus McWorld, and I'll spoil it for you. The author, even though putting it in that very blatant type of term, is somehow on the side of McWorld.
Mm, got you. Well, I'm here with Mountain. You know what I'm saying? Who has a channel on YouTube? You know, say he can put it in the motherfucking put it in the channel description or the fucking chat. You know what I mean? So he can advertise his stuff. My boy TK Mount, as always, is with me. My brother, how the fuck you doing? Mountain, man. Like, yo, how you doing tonight?
Doing good.
Yeah.
Doing
You
good.
want to tell everybody about your channel?
Yeah, we do the Quantum Connections podcast. We're on a little bit of a hiatus because our creative guy is dealing with some family stuff.
Mm,
But we're a bunch of gamers that sit around talking about deep subjects, and we were like, why don't we capture this lightning in a bottle? Sometimes it's dumb, but sometimes it's a little bit insightful. We're just regular guys, we don't try to be experts on anything, but
right.
sometimes
I
it's
mean,
insightful.
that's kind of why I invited you on because I kind of wanted to get deep about this, right? You know, like because like when I heard about this and I was thinking about it, like I have um I have a different view of like America and the Western civilization than a lot of people do, right? Um, because like I come from a standpoint of an immigrant and from like being a mountain individual and being somebody who just wasn't part of regular suburban, you know what I mean, like white Western civilization, right? Fully. Right. And my family actually was like where we immigrated from, like they came from the mountains in Europe. Right. And so like they were mountain people too. And so like it's a different perspective of how I look at things. And then the studying that I've done, right? I sit here and well, we should probably like tell everybody what I'm talking about. All right. So the ATF raided an Amish farm, right? Where this Amish guy, right, who the Amish don't legally have to have identification, right? Because like it's against their religion to take, you know, I mean, to take their photograph. And like they don't legally like have to like do a lot of the things that like normal Americans do every day, which I think is great. Um, Basically he had a whole bunch of long guns, right? You know, rifles and whatnot. And the Amish hunt, right? The Amish hunt a lot. They drive deer, and I'm saying that's how they hunt. And the ATF showed up at this guy's farm, and he had 600 rifles that he was collecting and selling to other Amish individuals and people in the community down in Lancaster, PA. Um, and the ATF raided his farm and took his guns and then went, well, we're not sure if a law was broken, so we just confiscated his weapons. And that was the end of the discussion. There's no crime at all, right? They just came and fucking took them. And being from Pennsylvania, where I know that a lot of the food that I eat, a lot of the things that we use here come from Amish people, right? And we respect them around here. Like there's a rule, like you don't fuck with the Amish as in general thing. You don't, you let them go. You know what I mean? Like, and you just live around them. You know, I mean, you don't molest them. You don't try to talk to their women. You don't try to fuck with them. You don't talk shit to them. They're just there. And I feel like from a civilizational standpoint that the promise that the West offers to humans and I mean the people who live in our civilization, the proof of like what they promise is the Amish. It's literally a it's a society beside our society and within it. And it's not competing, but it is at the same point. But it's just tolerated and left alone and they don't fuck with it. Especially here because our constitution and our bill of rights goes back to the 1600s, not to the 18th century like y'all's do, right? So the rule is that like any man, you know what I mean, is allowed his right of religious observance and allowed his right to be left alone unmolested. That's what William Penn wrote back in 1683. And I don't understand why it is that this would be considered acceptable in any way, shape, or form for a federal agency to be allowed to come on to our state's grounds and snatch the property of a man who was doing nothing more than living his life, providing tools and firearms to his local community and growing food. Why is it that this is something that happened? So I want to hear Mountain's response to this first, right? Because like I don't want you to play devil's advocate. I kind of want you to wax philosophically because that's what you do on your channel. You know what I'm saying? I want you to get deep about this.
So a couple of thoughts, and I may lose them as I expound on them. So first question, I want to keep this kind of short. Would this have happened on Trump's watch? Or is this a Biden's ATF maneuver?
ATF's the ATF, dude. You know, I mean, it doesn't matter who it's under. Like the ATF fucking killed many a men, like under Reagan and Bush. You know, I mean, the ATF's a fucking rogue agency in the end of the day.
Okay, so the current administration has no bearing on their administrative philosophy?
No.
Because, you know, according to the article on this, the journalist who wrote this up had a pretty cogent point. He says that the Biden administration has warned that it's going after rogue gun dealers. And I'm quoting here. And while I don't think busting an Amish farmer would be the public relations coup that Biden's looking for, the ATF and DOJ could very well decide to make an example out of this guy if they have evidence he was selling a large number of firearms without obtaining an FFL or the federal firearms license, which brings me to my second point. So yes, they're the backbone. They produce food, but how much food do they sell? Is it interstate sales or is it just kind of local community sales? Like how big is that economy? Is it 2-day trucking, 3-day trucking, or just local, regional?
Well, we eat the Amish people's food here first because it's organic, so it's like it's not preserved. You know what I mean? Like they don't provide like grain and wheat and shit for, you know what I mean, like cattle operations in Indiana. All their grain and wheat is used here in PA.
Right.
It's mostly PA, Ohio, Jersey. Right.
Regional. A little bit of interstate sales, but not big enough to really disrupt large business. So it looks like what they were saying is, hey, you know, you go and sell your food locally, but you sell guns, that's our territory. And you didn't kiss the ring and buy the license. That's what we expect. So now we're going to stop you. You know, they're like, now you're playing in our playground is what it sounds like to me. And they're flexing because they can.
I mean, like, I do believe that like that is absolutely like what's going on. Right. But on the same point, I'm kind of really disappointed that they're fucking with the Amish, right? Because like the Amish are, I don't even really know how to put it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not absolutely sure about like how to like put it into words, you know, like you're not supposed to fuck with the Amish. Like that's the fucking rules. Like you don't fuck with the goddamn Amish. And like TK and me were talking about it a little bit earlier. TK, you want to chime in on this? You know, it's the mentality that they're not even really thinking about it. Like they don't have like any, like they don't have, what's the word I'm looking for here? They're not thinking about civilization. They're not thinking about our society. They're not thinking about like the deeper thoughts of like the implications of what they're doing. They're just doing shit, right? Because like they're bureaucrats and that's what bureaucrats do. They just do shit. TK, you want to chime in on this, my brother?
I mean, if we're going to bring out, you know, the Godwin comparisons, which is probably a little premature, but let's go ahead and go there. Banality of evil, man. Like the person who was running those trains to the camps, they didn't think that they were doing anything particularly bad. They were just trying to get the trains out on time. It's going to be the same way with every one of these government bureaucrats. Like they're not thinking about, hey, this is community. This is something that we shouldn't mess with unless we absolutely have a reason to. They're thinking, okay, it's my job to bust up people who are selling guns. This person, I have found evidence, has guns, so I'm going to go bust them up. Like it is one, then two. Like they're, like you were saying, they're not putting any thought into what it is that they're actually doing, which is very common these days. The number of people who are just punching numbers into a keyboard to watch them go up or down on a screen without any idea of what even that could even theoretically correlate to in real life. Stock market. Like I feel like this has become like a running theme for our generation, that people are going to just want numbers to go up without even thinking about what the numbers are.
Like I would tend to agree with you, right? Like, and this is like the stuff that we talk about when we talk about like the cathedral, right? It's literally like bureaucrats who are trained by, these colleges and these universities to basically just be complete conformist into this system, right? And I think that's a lot of the fucking problem, is that like these people in our government, a lot of individuals don't understand, like a bunch of us didn't spend, the prerequisite, like what is it, 14 years, whatever it was, 16 years, 16 years in school, that, or 17, that all of y'all spent going to college and shit. And so, like, we're not conformists. We think like normal human beings think. We have our own like mentals and our own like ability to like reason outside of like what was taught to us in schools and shit, right? Psycho, some do, some don't. They asked if he has SSID. I don't. Some of them do, some of them don't, right? Some of them are completely off grid. They have no identification, no social security numbers, nothing. Like, they don't have any shit. Like, they're born in the fucking community, given a name. There's no birth certificate, right? Like, the only reason they would get that if someday like they want to like have the right to vote. But like, if they don't care about that, then they don't do it. It's same reason why they don't serve in the military, right? You don't meet Amish people in the military because, they're pacifist. You know what I mean? Like, they're literally like, they don't really have they don't have an offensive ideology. You know what I mean? Like, they don't have the mental to like conduct warfare. So, but anyway, right? Like, yeah, like, so these bureaucrats in government, like, they are just conformists. They're people who have been conforming for 16, 18, 17 years before they were, in the government. They were in a government institution, and that's all they know. And like, so they just know how to do what the fuck it is that they're told, and they just follow along and fall in line. You know what I mean? And now, they're standing here, like taking away just guns from fucking Amish people, which is fucking patently ridiculous to me. Like, it just, why are you fucking with like the one part of our society that doesn't cause any problems or any trouble whatsoever?
Well, they've
had like, go ahead, man.
I'd love to answer this question, which we won't know unless there was someone from that field office, right? It's like, was this a top-down order? Was it the guy who runs the whole station, or was it one agent who's like, I've got a lead and I'm going to follow it. Who's with me? And then, they laugh at him as he walks it in, like, hey, great job. You robbed a bunch of pacifist farmers, asshole. It's like kind of when the cop brings in the 17-year-old for smoking weed in the park, and they're like, wow, great bust, dickbag. Isn't it like, aren't there better people to go after?
I would like to point out that at no point in time has any cop ever actually had that conversation. When they bust somebody that isn't doing anything wrong, they laugh.
Yeah, just like the cops, what I'm saying, who like they put all that, like they'll lay. You ever see them lay like the drugs out all real nice on a table and shit, and they'll have like 10 bags of like coke or weed or whatever it is, like street value of fucking $8,000 or whatever it is. I'm like, bro, who the fuck are you selling to at $8,000? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, yo, get the fuck out of here. What up, Eric Strogan? Nice to see you out here, right? And so I know, to me, like, it's the wrongest thing you could possibly do is to fuck with Amish people, right? It's like, yo, that is the very basic essence of our civilization that you're fucking with. Like, it's the very bottom, the rock of what our shit is based off of, is that you can live how it is you see fit in your life. You can worship how you see fit. You can, like, stand here and like be the individual you want to be and who your family wants you to be, or whatever the case might be in our civilization. And when you start violating that as an in general thing, right? That changes everything. Who is this Black Knight person? Yo, Black Knight, what up, man? Who this be?
Oh, it's me, Yeti. I changed my name in the Discord
What up,
server.
Gotcha,
What you guys talking
what up,
about?
man? How you doing?
I'm doing good.
The ATF raided an Amish farm and took all their guns and then didn't charge him with a crime. They said, we're not sure whether or not a law was broken. We're just going to take these guns.
Oh, I mean, isn't like the Amish community kind of like on their own reservation? Like, is that even allowed?
What do you mean allowed? What do you mean?
Oh, I was saying, are the Amish community in the jurisdiction of like local governments? Because I thought they were kind of like a reservation.
I mean, all right. So like, here's how it works. They can still be charged with like capital crimes, right? Like they don't like Amish people don't have traffic laws enforced on them or codes or like,
Yeah.
like a lot of the basic restrictions that like a lot of people live by. The Amish people don't have to respect any of that shit. But what they do have is like, if you're like murder, right? Fucking rape, robberies, drug trafficking. Like there was an Amish farm that got busted for selling meth. You know what I mean? Like, that happens, right? So like, yeah, you can have like that type of shit go on. But like literally, like this was just a dude who had like 600 like rifles in his barn, right? And like it was literally like the stockpile for the community, like fucking, like he was selling to other Amish people things of this nature and just collecting them as an in general thing, right? And so like they decided that because he didn't have a photo ID, that he was, they didn't say anything he was doing illegally. They just didn't like it, so they took the guns.
Yeah. The thing is that the Amish wouldn't have photo ID. I don't think that's against their whole culture.
Yeah, I know. This is where my mentality is, right? Kata Champ, welcome to the channel. You got a wrench, my brother, right?
Yeah.
And so, like, this is, this is where I was at. I'm like, because, like, the very basic essence of our society and, like, the Western civilization's promise is the Amish, right? It's that you can live as you see fit under your own religious ideology, right? And not be persecuted for it. And we're persecuting somebody for it right now.
Yep.
I feel like that's wrong.
Oh yeah, I mean, it definitely is wrong and stuff. Like people in general shouldn't need to even really have ID to, possess guns and stuff.
Right. So let's be real here. For the last couple hundred years here in the United States,
Yeah, sure.
religious freedoms means the freedom to be progressive. It is more or less like if you look at the way we do religious freedoms in the U.S., we've been cracking down on any religion that isn't progressive, and now we're just getting to the point where, yeah, we're hitting the Amish.
Well, the thing is that like, yeah, progressivism to us is definitely a religion. The thing is that with progressivism, they use that little kind of sweet spot because they by technicality, they aren't a religion. So they're able to pull this BS when it comes to political power because, there's no reference to God in their whole belief system, which I know seems like the whole separation of church and state.
Yeah,
well, the whole separation of church and state is kind of stupid because you might as well just say separation of ideology and state because literally you get the same results if you have a radical ideology that happens to be secular.
Well, the ATF is teeing it up for the courts. They're not in and of themselves the courts. So even though all law is supposed to be predicated on God's law, it doesn't factor into their decision making. So even though it's a weak flex, they're just going to do what they do. And they're like, oh, guns are here. They're kind of agnostic as to who they are that has them. They'll just go to where they are and follow up a lead.
So like, here's the thing, like yesterday I posted a video about Kansas and California have begun using the sheriffs to snatch armored car deliveries of cash from medical marijuana and marijuana dispensaries to banks, right? And they're just raiding the motherfucking armored cars and taking the fucking money.
And then forwarding it to the feds and keeping an 80% kickback. So
Yep.
It's a whole thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. And so like this shit here You know what I mean? It's like a lack of respect for any type of motherfucking property rights in America as an in general thing. Like you're just saying fuck it. And Canada's doing the same thing. I found out they had the same exact shit, just we didn't know it.
Well, in general, they don't. Well, I mean, they already don't care about property rights anymore. Like, look what happened with all these riots and stuff. A complete total disregard for people's like property.
Well, that's a different thing altogether, right? I mean, like protecting your property is different from like the fucking actual government coming and, you know what I mean, like molesting your property. It's kind of where it's a different thing altogether.
I mean, it's a different thing, but it's kind of like a sentiment precursor where they're kind of prepping people for not really caring about what happens to people's private property. You know, it all comes in phases.
Eric Shogun, what up, man? Shogun, you gonna talk, man? Shogun? No, all right, fuck it. Anyway, yeah, like I don't believe in like the almighty they thing, right? I don't think that there's they as an in general thing. I just think that like the government as a whole isn't really thinking about what it's doing and just is kind of like just acting however it wants because nobody has the ability to stop them. Like there's nobody in charge.
You know, you're not a believer in the shadow players game.
No, I'm not.
Oh, well, I guess you're not allowed in Dr. Weird server anymore.
Yeah, it's a good possibility. Right? Like, yeah, I don't believe in the almighty they, right? Because I'm like, you motherfuckers need to start naming names or I'm gonna stop believing in they. And nobody named names. Right.
So you just think the government is just like kind of like, you know, incompetent, run by morons then, right?
Well, no. All right. So here's the mentality. You ever read Mobug by chance?
No, I know who you're talking about though.
Okay. Well, Mobug had this mentality where basically the premise is that the bureaucracy underneath of, you know, I mean, like your actual elected officials are the people who's actually running things every day. Right. And they are not accountable to the government who's elected, right?
Yeah.
As an in general thing. So therefore, it's not so much that they're incompetent, is that there's no consequences for their fucking actions.
Yeah.
And that's where we are, right? Like literally, like the ATF burned down a building with like 50 people inside of it in Waco, and nobody went to jail, right? Like, cops have shot and killed like 2,000 people a fucking year for the past 20 years, and very few of them ever go to jail, right? Like the feds wrongfully convict individuals, or the government wrongfully convicts individuals all the time, and they never go to jail, right? Bureaucracy stand here and take away individuals' rights on a regular basis and violate shit, and no one goes to jail, right? And this is where we're at right now. Like, yo, we killed 1 million Iraqis over the past 20 years, and no one went to jail. And it was all on false pretenses. And so that's where the mentality comes down.
Hey, Tom.
Well, war's war. I mean, no one really
did go to jail. One person did go to jail. The one person who told the government that they fucked up the withdrawal.
Yeah.
Right. Like if you speak out against them as a military individual, you will probably be suicided. Right? That's how this operates. You know what I mean? Like, yo, most of Hillary Clinton's detractors end up, you know what I mean, falling repeatedly onto a baseball bat. Right?
Well, you get suicided if you're like actually like if you're real close to the truth and stuff. Like it depends on like how like outrageous you are. Because like one of the reasons why people always ask why Alex Jones hasn't been suicided yet is probably just because he frames things in such an outrageous fashion that they don't think that people are actually going to legit believe him.
I don't know. Like again, that's where we get down to: is there actually a they? Arrow Shogun, what up, man?
All right, can y'all hear me now?
Yes, yeah, sir. I can hear you now.
Yep.
How you doing?
Yeah, we're good.
I'm doing pretty good. Fantastic for a Sunday. Yeah, I had to do some things behind the scenes because StreamYard, what it likes to do is never defaults to my default setting, so I always have to manually change everything before I jump into the call.
Yeah, I had to do that too because it's really annoying. Like you have to like basically like log into your account sometimes just to access or change your profile pic.
Yeah, no, all that good stuff.
Mine don't even let me on my phone. Right, like the microphone just straight don't work, and then like when there's video, it just goes straight to circles and shit. Like, y'all, StreamYard's retarded on my phone, but it works on the computer. You know,
that's why that's kind of miss about Google Hangouts is that at least it was simple and easy to use.
I feel you. All right, so Shogun, man, you wanted to speak on the Amish thing. What up?
Yeah. So now it was Lead Therapy that did a video on this a while back. Now, that's how I actually found out about the whole thing. Because and it didn't really shock me because I know some of you have already heard TFM say that basically the Amish can do whatever they want because the government doesn't mess with them and so on. Now, I was just waiting for the day where that just was no longer the case. Now, I'm not saying that I was rooting for him to be wrong because I was hoping he would be right, but I just had the feeling that, there's going to be a way that the government's going to find a way to start messing with the Amish. And when it comes to guns and the ATF, they're definitely going to do it. Now, the thing is that the one thing you can't do is if you're going to be selling guns that aren't registered with serial numbers and stuff, you don't want to be doing that and having the police find out about it. Unless
no,
that's fine here.
No, it's Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
Like, you can sell any long gun you want to sell to whoever you want to sell it to. No background check, no motherfucking no registration, no paperwork.
Okay, so that's still legal in Pennsylvania. I know that's not legal in my state. I mean, I live in a Democrat-run hellhole, so
you live in California, right? Some shit like that. You're out there in Cali or whatever.
No,
right?
I'm not in Cali. I'm in Washington. They're trying to become Cali.
No difference.
Not quite there yet.
Yeah, fucking Canucks.
I'm working on my exit strategy, but
Calistan, right?
Yeah, California.
Yeah, fucking Calistan. All right, so I mean, like, again, like in Pennsylvania, what they're doing is perfectly legal.
Right, and it's
in most red states, what they're doing is legal.
Yeah, keyword most, and I think it's still legal in most states. Period. Because for years we've been able to make our own weapons, be able to sell them, trade them, and so on, without the need for government oversight. Because it's constitutional for us to do that. Now, what they're trying to do is they're trying to do away with the whole ghost gun thing. And the ghost gun the term ghost gun is basically just trying to scare people into saying that these scary guns that are made at home that don't require background checks and criminals are getting them. They're trying to just manipulate the public into thinking that, oh, this is a bad idea and that everyone should go for a background check for a gun because that's how we keep people safe.
Yeah.
And honestly speaking, I mean, you look at the states that have the most gun control, they actually have the worst amount of crime. And they're soft on crime, but they're tough on guns. You can't do one or the other. I mean, you got to be tough on crime, first of all.
Well, they don't want.
Go ahead.
Oh, no, you can finish what you're saying.
Okay. But if you look at states where they don't have a massive gun control and they're actually tough on crime, and in addition, they don't have a whole bunch of welfare sponges and like a bunch of Section 8 housing and so forth, then they're fine. Now, but if you look at what happened fairly recently, I think this was last year, there was an ATF agent that got caught stealing a bunch of guns that were marked for destruction because there are certain guns that have to be destroyed by a court order, and the ATF will destroy all these guns and stuff. And sometimes the parts will be sold online for the people to get and so on. So what this guy did was he was taking those guns and then he was selling them off the street, off the books. And then there was a criminal that got a hold of one. And then one of them got used in a crime, and the ATF found the serial number and they traced it back to that facility where it was supposed to be destroyed. And now this is a kind of a conspiracy theory. I can't really prove it, but this is what I honestly believe. I believe that now that the government wants to target guns and wants to take away as many guns as possible, not only do they want to make ghost guns illegal on a federal level, I believe that they're also willing to make their own ghost guns, quote unquote, and then start selling them to criminals so that when they show up in crimes, they can they can make their own problems with the statistics and say, you see, all these ghost guns are showing up. Where it wasn't like that before. It didn't start happening until around 2020 when it started getting fairly popular.
What about the Fast and Furious scandal?
Oh yeah, Obama. Yeah.
Fast and Furious. What? Sorry.
Basically, Obama was supposedly helping smuggle guns.
No. Don't do that. That was Bush. That was Bush that started the Fast and the Furious program.
Yeah, but Obama's also tied up in the scandal too.
Regardless of who did it, they basically just took a whole bunch of guns and trucks, and in an attempt to bait the cartel, shipped it over the border, but they forgot to track the guns, so they just gave the cartel free guns.
All right, So here was the original plan. Okay, the original plan was to try to trace where the guns went. Right, they fucking stood here and they sold they gave fucking a whole bunch of guns, right, to whatchamacallit. It's kind of like when you give a counterfeit or you give like marked money to somebody and then you see where the money goes and then like you fucking trace them all back or whatever. Well, that's what they did with the cartels. They fucking sat there and gave them a whole bunch of guns. And then what ended up happening was the cartel killed a couple of motherfucking border patrol agents with those said guns that they fucking sold them. The least they could have done is made them non-working firearms. You know what I'm saying? Like
that was 2006. Well, they wouldn't trust it if they didn't work. That was back in 2006. So this isn't a new play by any means. And obviously, if you look at street crime, it's not backyard made weapons. It's not Eastern European weapons. It's these are manufactured weapons.
Yeah.
Well, yeah,
they're machined, perfectly. So.
I'm pretty sure they had like some fucking PCMs and shit in there too.
Well, actually, the vast majority of fucking like handguns that are running around in like streets of Chicago or Philly or Baltimore, whatever it is, they're all actually like Thailand and Filipino made motherfucking knockoffs of like 1911s and 9mm and shit and Desert Eagles, right? Because like, they can just get them over the border, white fucking or get them through fucking customs really, really easily because they only check like one in every like 10,000 containers that goes through the fucking ports.
Yeah, they ain't got time to check them all.
Yep.
What I just get this feeling like the system just doesn't want people to be able to like make and sell their own things, and they want to have complete control over who can funnel whatever to like to the masses and stuff.
Right.
Well, no, of course they don't want you to be able to have your own weapons. Like, you got to remember that. All right, so they're training individuals in college, and like the reasons why like you have like this woke explosion or whatever it is, it's a lack of faith in your fellow man, right? It's like an original sin type of deal. Everybody's racist, everybody has biases, whatever it is, right? Yeah. So all human beings are fucking flawed. So therefore they need government, they need oversight, like because what they're doing is they're training a managerial class. Right. And this managerial class, whether they're bureaucrats or they're middle management or upper management of the corporation, whether they're, individuals in the fucking media, whatever, it doesn't matter. They're all fucking management. So therefore, they're being trained quite literally to rule over people. That's what college is there for. And so like, they're always going to have the perspective that human beings aren't capable of fucking doing things themselves because that's what they're trained to do.
Right. And therefore they always have the higher ground because you have the original sin, which means any accusation, you're automatically guilty.
Well, that's one of the reasons. That's one of the reasons why the vast majority of like multicultural societies tend to embrace a very, tyrannical form of government.
Yeah.
Well, it's sort of kind of that. All right. And we're like the only multicultural fucking society, just as in a general thing. That none of the rest, there's never ever been another one other than us. If you want to be really technical about some shit. Captain Capitalism left, my brother. Anyway, right. So like I say this on a regular basis, you know what I'm saying? But like I'll say it here again. Like you got to remember what universities and college started off as, right? They started off as a way for like rich aristocrats to send their rich psychopathic fucking kids to learn how to become human beings, right? Because they were going to be aristocrats. That's why like you have courses like the humanities, right? Because it was there to teach you humanity, right? And that's the whole purpose of it. You know what I mean? Like liberal arts are literally there to teach these kids how to be human beings and be decent rulers so they didn't turn into Nero, right? Because like that is like the level of what, these individuals were, right? And you can find the same fucking ideologies that we have today in the 1920s or the 1840s in places like in the same places where they start off today, and like Brooklyn and fucking the brownstones and Soho and shit, right? It's all the same people and the same shit. It's these aristocratic white Anglo-Saxon Protestant kids, right, who literally like went through these same exact courses and were taught the same exact shit. And that's why everybody sounds the same exact way when you hear them talk. It's because like they don't like culture, they don't like heritage. They all want to stand here and be cosmopolitan and metropolitan. right? So they can fit into as many boxes as motherfucking possible and be able to like work for any corporation or any government agency so that they can just make as much money as possible and be part of the machine. That's what this whole shit was meant to do.
Which was fine when it was exclusive and you were going to have that much power over, let's say, a whole set of employees and statewide trade and in real commerce. But now it's been atomized, right? And these people do come out with the same attitude as if they're major CEOs. And it's no coincidence that everyone's a boss babe and CEO of whatever, that they're not really a CEO. But they do have power. Not only do they have the same education, but they have the power to shut you down and get you canceled. They will get you fired.
Also, Mountain, you're stepping over Pinoid.
Oh, I didn't hear.
No, you're not. You're not stepping on me at all.
I mean, also, like, yeah, I mean, we look at all this woke stuff. I was saying, we look at all this woke stuff, and it just, to me, it always feels like it was kind of a way to also, like, split up the working class. Because literally, like, all this, like, woke stuff in corporations didn't really get into overdrive until, like, after Occupy Wall Street happened. So it's kind of really suspicious, the timing.
Well, not, it's
not real quick.
Match. It's kind of the, what up?
I'll be back here in a sec. But the more diverse the workforce, the less likely it is to unionize.
Well, not like so. Like here's another thing you have to remember. The reason it's happening right now is because right now is when all the baby boomers are retiring, and the millennials are taking over because Gen X wasn't a large enough force. Like they don't have enough generation or enough population to be able to fill all the spots. So millennials are, you know what I'm saying, like hopping in and running things immediately, just straight out of college. That's why all this shit's happening. Justin Kuhn, what up, man?
They're running things into the ground.
How you doing, my brother, man? You watch the fucking game?
Not right now. No, I called in. I was fucking tired. I happened to see that y'all were on, so
the game sucked.
Yeah, I'll be real. Like it wasn't that good of a game.
I mean, who wants to see LA? Like seriously, when LA loses, America wins and stuff.
I agree. I'll be honest. I'm a Niners fan, right? But I've been a Niners fan because, like, I came up and like my grandmother, like, grew up like up the block from like Montana.
Niners are.
Dad was
I'm a Seattle
Cowgirls.
Yeah, you and my dad would have been best friends. My dad was a 49ers fan. Loved you.
My dad was a Cowgirls fan. He used to call them the cockbite Cowgirls.
Yeah, I mean, like I grew up as an Italian kid, like, you know what I'm saying, looking up to guys like Joe Montana and Dan Marino and shit. But I couldn't like Dan Marino because he didn't win. You know what I mean?
No, I'm from Seattle, so we're all Seattle fans in my
family. I don't really have a team. I just watch it sometimes and whatnot. I was a true redneck. I watched more NASCAR than anything.
I watched NASCAR for about 10 minutes, and I was like, Jesus Christ, all they do is turn left. I got to fucking watch something to fucking watch.
I got to say, it's like, no, like baseball. It's like baseball. Oh, they're going around in a fucking circle, but slower.
See, I'm like,
it's like baseball. It's like it's fucking slow.
I like playing baseball. I like playing baseball, but I hate watching it. It's like reading paint dry.
It's like, well, it's same thing with basketball. For me, it's like I'd rather play baseball and basketball than watch it. And then with race car driving, it's like I'd rather play a video game or go ride go-karts and stuff than like watch it.
Like I was never a good race car driver. Like there's kids who are born good race car drivers, right? Like you meet them when you're little. You know that kid who used to like ride up and down your block, popping a wheelie all the time, or like, you know what I mean? Like fucking, he was just always wild as shit and could handle things.
Oh, I know my next door neighbor right across my fence row. They built race cars for a living, and he was 13, going around in circles out there in this big patch of dirt he had. And used to piss my grandma off. He hated her, so she'd wait till she was outside. She'd come to visit. And he'd see her, and he'd get in that damn race car, and he'd go around in circles and kick up dust and get dust on her coffee and shit, piss her off. Me and Dad be laughing at her.
Yeah.
I guess the first rule is don't turn right.
Hey, Cottage Ham, man, I was rooting for y'all. You know what I'm saying? I was rooting. I was hoping the kitty would go meow. Right? I was like, come on, kitty, go meow. And like it just didn't happen. I feel bad for you.
TK said he'd be back. He's going home.
What? So like, oh, kitty, go meow. Oh, you talking about the Bengals?
Like I watch
Okay.
Tom Grossi. He's a Packers guy, but like he has a
Can I just say
great
one
live stream. What up, man?
Oh, can I just say one thing? Like, seriously, fuck Eli Apple and stuff. That dude's a bum. He's like one of the worst cornerbacks in the league and stuff.
Yo, I'll tell you what, Aaron Donald's a fucking monster. Like straight up. Like that dude is a fucking beast.
Yeah, but he's kind of a bitch though. He's also kind of a bitch. He gets like into fights and stuff.
Oh yeah, he's super emotional, but like that's what makes him a good player. You know what I mean? Like, so you can't really knock it. Like if that's what drives him.
For whatever reason, they like decided they were going to put Eli Apple 1-on-1 against Cooper Kupp, and it's like that was stupid.
Yeah. And Cooper Kupp, like he's the white receivers in the NFL, they run perfect routes. It's like Jerry Rice.
Yeah.
That's why Jerry Rice was so
I know.
good.
I am so pissed because like he's from Eastern Washington, so he's a Washington boy, and everyone back in 2017 said that the Seahawks should have drafted him, but they didn't.
Yo, man, it's like Aaron Rodgers was a California guy, and San Fran had the ability to pick him, but instead they picked motherfucking Jeff Garcia.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, San Fran missed out on Brady and Rodgers and stuff, so that's kind of a criminal sin.
Yeah, and we had the first pick too, legit. And it was it Alex Smith or fucking? I think it was either Alex Smith. Was it Alex Smith? It was either him or Jeff Garcia, one of the two.
It was Alex Smith, yeah.
We picked Alex Smith over motherfucking Aaron Rodgers because, well, we're retarded, like, it is what it is, but anyway, yeah, fucking. So Coon, man, we was talking about how like the ATF ran into an Amish dude's barn and snapped 100 guns without any crime being committed. They said, we think it's a crime, but we don't know. So we're just going to take these guns.
What type of guns were they?
All long guns, hunting rifles for the Amish. That he was
bunch of
collecting and selling.
Were they like center fire? Were they black powder? I mean, like what type? Do we know? Or
center fire? Like probably like a bunch or whatever. Yeah.
Well, they can under the same civil asset forfeiture laws. They can if they have suspicion. Yeah, it's shitty. I don't agree with it. It's shitty, but I'm just saying that's what they can do.
I'm saying there's no law broken, and you don't fuck with the Amish.
It doesn't. Well, I understand that, but you got to understand, Tom, they don't care. It's what they presume. I get what you're saying. Don't get me wrong. I'm not agreeing with what they do. I'm telling you their thought process. They don't care. If they presume, it's their presumption, not yours.
Yeah.
Personally, I wouldn't fuck with the Amish, though.
I know you don't fuck with the Amish, but you got to also remember something, guys. Hold up, guys. Hold on.
All right.
Hang on. Let me say this. Let me say this.
Go ahead, man. Go ahead.
Hold up.
Go ahead.
I personally watched what the ATF will do if you try to fuck with them. I watched that fucker burn from my house.
Yeah, look, legitimately, I met somebody who knows you on Discord too, by the way.
Oh yeah?
Yeah. Up in the rhetoric server.
Who is it?
Some broad, like Ariana, something like that.
Oh, I know her. I know.
Yeah. Fucking.
What type of shit she talk about me?
No. She ain't say nothing bad about you. She just fucking said, ask if she knew you, ask if you knew her, right? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think I know. I know a couple. I know two Arianas.
Yeah, she's a hairdresser. Like she cuts hair.
Yeah, I think I know which one you're talking about.
Fat chick.
I used to work. Yeah.
Yeah,
I know.
But
her.
anyway. Yeah. Like fucking as I mentioned you know what I'm saying? Because she said she was from Waco. And I said, oh shit, I know somebody from Waco. Right. And like fucking we got to talking and shit. And like fucking I was like, yeah, like my boy Justin and shit. She's like, oh, I know that guy. I was like, oh yeah, whatever. Right. But anyway, yeah. So
my family has a pretty decent
I'm from Pennsylvania, right? I'm from Pennsylvania. My girl is Pennsylvania Dutch, right? Like, literally, like I grew up on the border of motherfucking Lebanon County and shit, right?
Oh, shit.
And like I was born on the border of Lebanon and Dauphin County, right? In the motherfucking mountains right next to motherfucking Fort Indian Town Gap, right? And like literally, like the Amish are, fucking right?
Oh, I know. I'm dealing with Amish right now. There's some products and stuff that they make. I'm trying to order right now with them. They're fucking awesome. Right. I like the Amish.
Yeah, and the rules here in Pennsylvania, like the rules are you don't fuck with the Amish. Like people, Puerto Ricans, you don't mess with them, right? You let them go. Like the rule. All right, so like in the Pennsylvania Constitution, in the fucking PA Charter of Privileges from 1683, it literally says, you know what I mean, that like they will be unmolested.
Yeah, I've been reading up on y'all. I've been reading y'all's Constitution. It's pretty cool, actually.
Yeah, the thing is, government. I'm sorry. See, the thing about the federal government is that they want all people to come under their subjugation. They want everybody under their heel. And I believe that they're willing to violate in everything and anything that they can in order to
also remember,
well, it's also why you I was just gonna say it's also like it's also why like in these past few years you've been seeing all these hit pieces against the Mormons, you know, trying to make them look super bad.
Shoot, I shop at Mormon canneries. What are you talking about? Shit, this is a good place to get stuff.
If you look at it, there's a lot of programs and like documents, all this stuff coming out where they're trying to paint the Mormons as like being like, you know, this incredibly abusive organization.
Some sects of them are, but not all of them.
It depends on how you want to define abusive. Like, yeah, towards women they're abusive, but women aren't people.
I'm just saying, like, you can kind of tell that they're trying to make the Mormons look bad because the Mormons are very self-sufficient. They're very like their own people.
Yeah, they even got their own logistics and distribution system set up through the bishop storehouse.
Yeah, and that scares the progressives.
Like, wish my friend Tom, like, hey, what's up, homie? It's been a minute.
Yo, how you doing, my man? Listen, yo, you know we miss you out here. You know what I mean? Like, yo.
Oh, there's Ed, the infamous Ed.
You know we love
you. I'm infamous? Like, hey, no. Do not confuse me with like Eddie. All right, do not confuse me with that motherfucker. There's a difference between us two.
Oh yeah, no. Yo, the Eddie is motherfucking Floyd, right? He's a from Indiana, right? You know who?
I'm also from Indiana. I'm just a drug-addled fucking piece of shit. I don't fuck women in costumes.
Yeah, you know what?
All y'all from the Midwest.
When Ed says he's gonna go jerk off, like he goes, "I'm gonna go jerk off." When Floyd says, "I'm gonna go jerk off," he goes, "I'm gonna go paw myself off." Right? You know what I mean? Like it's a whole different thing.
Oh, he says paw himself off. Oh my god, that's so gross.
Man, I did something a little odd today. I wouldn't recommend it. I bought a dog, a kitty cat, and a box of Tinker toys.
Like, don't get me wrong, like, dude, I have some like subversion. I've had some like sub chicks, but like, yeah, they never been in mascot costumes. Like,
yeah.
I'm sorry.
Furries. All furries must die.
I'm sorry, Tom. I didn't catch the gist of the conversation going right now. It's just been a minute, homie. So I thought I'd jump in.
I got you. Well, I'm gonna tell you what's going on. The Amish, the ATF ran into an Amish man's farm and took all of his rifles and said, "We think that there's some type of crime, but we don't know. So we're just going to take his gun because."
So the ATF is being the ATF.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
Which they should.
Did they shoot any dogs?
Demolished.
No, they didn't shoot any dogs.
Dude,
they shoot his kids.
It comes to the ATF, like they might shoot some dogs, and like here's the thing: I like dogs, but
they
like
set anything on fire. They set anything.
I'm more concerned about like I'm more concerned about them shooting a man's wife.
You talk a lot of shit for something that has something to burn.
Yeah. Like I'm more concerned about the ATF shooting like a man's wife and kids. Like we rich.
Well,
they
already killed someone's wife and kids.
You're talking a lot of shit for somebody who's flammable.
Exactly. Let's keep this 100. Let's keep.
I'm on 3 hits of fucking acid. Like I'm very flammable right now. But I'm more concerned about the ATF.
Why do y'all think I keep black powder revolvers and shit?
Yo, listen, I'm saying, like, man, listen. All right, so like, here's my thing. Like the rules of Western civilization, right? The proof that like we give a fuck about like our values and our heritage and who we are as in general, right? About everything that we stand for are the Amish. Like,
dude, the Amish,
they
have a good racket.
They're the proof of like Western civilization's like value. Right.
I get what you're saying. Like the Amish are actually a proof on a financial sense. Like, right? Like they buy up all this property, or at least they are in Indiana, right? They buy up all this fucking property, like acres after acres. And then they have a shitload of kids, and they have the kids working the land. Like I know like 3 or 4 generation Amish that are working for one motherfucker on fucking like 86 acres of land. Yeah. They don't pay shit. They don't pay shit for it.
Yo,
and that's
what up,
how you
man,
do it.
Woody, this is the first time you're at one of my live streams, man. Welcome, my brother. Have a wrench. Everybody gets a wrench in the live stream because, like, yo, I feel like
Tom,
I don't want anybody to ever be silenced out this motherfucker.
Yeah. Tom, did you get my Patreon subscription?
Yes, I did. Thank you, Justin Coon. I apologize. I didn't get a chance, man.
Anyway,
like, yo,
I just want to make sure because I had hell with my.
Anyway, guys, I wanted to finish this point that I was trying to make earlier.
Go ahead, man.
So,
Sorry.
Now it's fine. It's fine. So now this is another thing that's very telling about what they're doing now. You see, the ATF just got caught. Well, more like they don't care that they got caught. Making a transaction of making a record of over 1 billion transactions. So it's they essentially have themselves a gun registry, and it's illegal, it's unconstitutional, and they're not supposed to do that. Biden is already trying to double their funding too, while defunding the local police.
So they have like a unlawful gun registry going on, is what you're saying, right?
Exactly.
Thank God I found this out.
They've always had this, right?
Well, yeah, they've always had it. It's just now that the GOP finally actually said something about it. I mean, are they going to do anything about it? No, they're not.
No.
I mean,
the GOP is a speed bump. That's all they are. They're a speed bump for progressives. Like,
the two-party tyranny.
Don't do this. Don't do this.
They don't conserve rights. There's somewhere between speed bump and controlled opposition. That's what they are.
No. Like, yo, all right. So, like, here's the deal. Like, I like what Michael Malice says. He says, conservatives are just motherfucking progressives going the speed limit.
Oh, I like that, dude. And I like that. You know, Michael Malice. Goddamn, Michael Malice is a smart motherfucker.
Yeah, that's
like, I want to get him on. I want to get him on one of these times or something.
Good luck with that,
Michael. Any of y'all listen to Michael Savage?
I listen to Michael Savage. We're
like,
I like what he said. I like what he said. He goes, "What do you call what do you call a fascist with 3 kids?"
Me?
No, conservative.
Like I'm sorry, I apologize. Like you're good. Lie to you, homie. Like it's been a minute since I talked to you. I basically jumped in just to shoot the shit with him, but like Ed is on acid tonight. I'm on acid.
You're good, man. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, yo,
like,
I'm concerned. The wife, how's your motherfucking your organs doing and shit?
Well, what stage 2?
Okay, got you.
I'm sick as fuck. I was just given sick leave. And basically, besides like dealing like on man to man, being for real, I'm just trying to live and keeping a pregnant woman from crying because she thinks she has to be a single mother in a few years. I might not be around.
Here's my mentality. I would like you to set up a fund or something, like some way that we can all give money if something does happen to you.
No. I doing that shit. I learned that lesson. We're watching Trippy do that shit. I learned that lesson.
No. I want you to set up a fund that, like, yo, it's yours, and you set it up, and then you give your girl, you know what I mean, like the password to it and whatever. And like if something does bad happen, if right, because I'm not gonna say it's gonna, if something bad happens, we want to be able to help support your fucking kids.
I'm young. So like, yeah, like I can either go tomorrow or several years in the future. It's hard telling with this.
What do you got?
It really is.
If you mind me asking.
Stage 2 pancreatic cancer.
Stage 2. What's your prognosis?
It's the prognosis, dummy.
That's stage 2, man.
I'm asking. I mean, like, what's it looking like further down the road? I mean, how long do they estimate you got?
They gave me like fucking a decade at most.
A decade?
Like a decade. It's only fucking stage 2, man. Like
you got time.
I can go and do like a whole lot of shit. And like, here's my thing. I'm kind of fucked up right now. Like the woman gave me permission. Like she's like, Ed, you better a lot of stress, get fucked up. And hey, baby, she's being all quiet in the background like a mouse. It's fucking adorable. It's fucking adorable. But like, she gave me permission for Ed to be Ed.
Sorry about the dog barking in the background. My housemate and his girlfriend left their dogs here for the week. He's gone to Mexico, and I got to deal with these 2 dogs.
Hey, dude, like, I don't see this shit. Like, dude, a cat's gonna meow, a dog's gonna bark, and a woman's gonna nag. You can't blame them for basic nature. That's just how it is.
Yeah, that's
it's just how it is, homie.
Right.
Yo, the link there is for Mountain's channel. You know what I'm saying? The Quantum Connection or whatever. Right. It's a great podcast. I recommend all of y'all go check it out. You know what I'm saying? Make sure you go sub to his channel. You know what I mean? Go over there, hop on. You know what I mean? Show him some love in his comment section. You know what I mean? Or tell him to eat a dick. One of the two. Either way, it's going to help you with the algorithm and shit. You know what I mean?
Right on.
Yeah.
But like,
There's no such thing as bad press.
Yeah.
Exactly. You know what I mean?
But back to
You gotta go
guns.
both
All
ways.
press is good press.
Hey, I got a
Right
couple
on.
of thoughts back on the situation, right?
All right, go ahead, man. Go ahead.
So it's another example of city folk making rules for country people, right?
Yeah, precisely.
That's infuriating because, like, here's the thing. I understand why they have handgun laws in the city because, do you know what? Can I be offensive and use like the hard R's?
Do what you do, nigga. Do what you do.
Because you have inner street con niggers that like it's all gang warfare. Now here's the thing. In inner city, that okay, you might have laws that apply there, but like for a country bumpkin like me, like dude, I might need a rifle to kill a coyote or a boar.
Right. I mean, that's
Or a
the
meth head.
right.
Or
That's
a
the
meth
one
head.
thing I hate about my state is that you got these libtards in Seattle and Tacoma too and Olympia. They basically want to dictate to the entire damn state what we can and can't do. Now in my state, now we have people that live up in the mountains. No, we got bears and stuff. So yeah, they're trying to ban 50 cows. No, you're going to need some firepower if you're going to be in bear territory.
Well, it depends on that bear.
Start.
If it's a black bear, sit up strong and fight that bitch. If it's a grizzly, just run and hope he doesn't catch you.
Yeah.
No, you keep a 22. You take the 22, shoot your buddy in the leg, so the grizzly eats your buddy while you're running.
Oh man, we can't sacrifice people.
Nah.
But that's funny.
Bug it.
That's funny.
I don't give a fuck who he is. I'm keeping me alive.
I'm just saying we are built like fucking Tom Boy beat fucking Tom Pinoy fucking gorilla here. We all can't take on grizzlies.
Yeah,
I ain't fighting no bear.
that's why we
I'm
have
not fighting a
guns.
bear. I don't give a fuck. I'm not doing it.
I was 14 years old. I was day calling with my dad. I was 14 years old, and a fucking cow. I was sitting next to the calling box because the remote control was broke, and we had this little tail on a little wobbly thing and whatnot to make it look like it was a rabbit dying or some shit. And I didn't see him coming up on me. And this fucking coyote was stalking me up in the tall grass, and he was the same color as the grass in the coastal. That son of a bitch jumped out and got on top of me. I was able to throw my left arm up, and he slashed onto my freaking left arm and went to wailing on my arm, thinking I was a rabbit and he was going to kill it. My dad couldn't get a shot on him because I was in the way. He was sitting up above me. He didn't want to hit me. So I couldn't get to my knife.
You said coyote, right? That means there was like 5 or 6 of those motherfuckers waiting too.
Now just one. Well, there was 2 or 3 more coming, and he had to start shooting them. He tried to shoot me, and then he looked up and saw the other ones coming. And as he was shooting them, he said, "Get your knife, boy. Get your knife." I couldn't get on my K-bar because I had it on a cross draw, because that's how I was sitting down. I had it on a cross draw, and I couldn't get to it because the way that damn dog was on me. He clawed my face. He clawed my arm. Thank God I was wearing a couple of layers of jumpsuit. So I finally was able to get to my knife, and I stuck the son of a bitch in his neck, and then I rolled him on top of him because I got him kind of stunned. I got on him. I went to prison shanking his ass, stabbed him about 40 times. The goddamn adrenaline hit me. I was going, "Wah!"
So now, if you kill a coyote like that, you have to skin it and wear it. I was like, this is the rule.
I hope you got your shots afterwards.
Sounds like it ruined the skin. The other thing
what I did is I cut his tail off, and I had his tail for a long time. He had mange, and it finally deteriorated. But I had it hanging up for about 10 years.
I'm just saying, go ahead, Pino. Sorry, I should have fucking.
I had a bat come in the house when I was like probably like 11, right? And like, it went into the bathroom, and so like my sister comes over, and she's like 2 years younger than me. She's like, "Tommy, there's a bat in here," right? And I was like, "Shit!" So like I went and I grabbed a broom. Right. And like, oh no, what I did first is I went and I got my dog, and I sent my dog in there because I was like, dog will eat the bat. Like, yo, fuck, he'll kill him. Right. The dog went in and sniffed the bat and then walked away. He's like, you fuck bitch. Right?
What am I, a cat? This is a rat with wings. I ain't a cat.
The dog walks away, not my problem, not my chair.
Yeah, I sent the cat in. I sent the cat in next, and the cat didn't have no claws, so like it just pawed at it, right, and like it didn't do shit, right. So then like I tried to catch it with like a broom, in a motherfucking trash can, right? And like,
and the fight was on,
and it started flapping around and whatnot, right? And like, yo, when it started flapping around, I started like screaming like a crazy person. I was like, "Da, da, da!" Right? And like,
Tom started singing a Misfit song. Started singing a fucking Misfit song right then and there, trying to kill his bat.
Right, yo, and I broke the fucking the porcelain on the sink and shit, like fucking trying to hit his bat with a broom. Yo, my mom was so mad at me. She's like, "You broke my sink. We're renting here." Like, she was pissed. Yeah, but like that's my fucking bat story from when I was a fucking kid.
But you got rid of that fucking bat. You got rid of that fucking bat, right?
Yeah, we get bats down here, especially around this area, around Austin, around Burnett. Them fuckers get everywhere.
I'm sorry, that's a bad hiccup / throat for me. And Pino, to answer your question earlier, dude, I'm never set up for stream labs doing that shit. Never gonna do that shit.
You're never gonna what?
Set up stream labs or e-donation shit whatsoever. I make good money. She makes good money. I ain't doing it.
You got any insurance on you?
Do I have life insurance? Dude, I'm UAW. I have all that shit. I have all the bells and whistles.
Like a PayPal or something along these lines.
Is she your beneficiary to it?
Dude, she's my wife. Of course, she's my beneficiary.
Okay. Not worry about what people are going to say about nonsense. You know what I mean?
I would, but like, homie, like, you know, between you and me, like, we some old faggots. Yeah, you both know we some old faggots. Like, it's some like e-speak. We old faggots. We got enemies.
Of course we got enemies, but it doesn't matter.
Good. You're standing up for something.
I'm Tom Pease, bro.
You either stand up for something or you told someone to get fucked. It's just like one of those two options.
Yo, look, man. And when Mad Dodge died, I went hat in hand around with his fucking wife's PayPal to make sure like his kids had a good Christmas. And
shit. Dude. Not talk shit about Mad Dodge. You know, rest in peace, Mad Dodge. But like, dude, I got life insurance, I got home insurance, I got all that shit. My P's and Q's are covered. My P's and Q's are covered.
I'm just saying, I love you. You know what I'm saying? I loved him and I miss him. You know what I mean? And like, yo, something bad happens, I want to like, yo, just, you know what I mean, at least be able to like write a note with the motherfucking with a couple of bucks and go like,
dude, when I go, dude, I give you full benefits, man. Like, just stream my funeral and get as much bucks as you can out of it. Like, my family and everything else. My family and everything else is covered, dude. They're covered.
Nah, like, yo, like, I want your kids to know how great of a dude you was. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, no, I'm actually a piece of shit.
We're all pieces of shit.
Cancer's not necessarily a death sentence. I had a lot of cancer in the family, and we were led to believe it's genetic. And, you know, a lot of current holistic view is that this is the latest, right?
But like, that's the thing. I don't want to take that away from the ATF. Fuck the ATF. And I'm saying this right. I hop out. I gotta hop into someone else stream and tell them I love them. It's like, Pino, you know I love you, homie. You're like one of the real motherfuckers that have my actual number.
I'll be praying for you, Ed.
I know.
But like, yeah, like to get the conversation back to the ATF, like, here's the thing. When it comes to police, when it comes to cops, when it comes to these people, one thing that really, really grinds my fucking gears is conservatives understand that cops are not on your goddamn side. They are not. A cop will put your boot on your fucking neck to collect a fucking paycheck. Doesn't matter which ones they are. They are on your fucking side. Let's just go back a year or two ago where you have like black people and a bunch of white upper class middle-aged fucking kids setting fires everywhere, destroying businesses. And then they turn around and shut down a goddamn business because how goddamn they operate during a fucking pandemic. Cops aren't on your fucking side. Like the ATF, they showed up, Waco, they killed women and their children.
Tell me about it.
And then they posted the pictures.
There was a cop around here who got scared because the dude answered the door with a shotgun and shot past the dude and shot his daughter in the motherfucking head.
No, fuck. Right? That's the shit I'm saying. The cop
was a bitch and he was trying to evict the dude. You know what I'm saying? Like, yo, because he was back on his rent.
So he kills a fucking kid.
Yeah.
They'll kill your dog. They'll kill your kids. There is no law that a cop won't justify showing up and killing you and your children just to make it. And that's the Michael Malice. That is not word for word, but that is a Michael Malice quote.
And that's very true. You ain't lying. Because there's one thing I have to agree with TFM on is that what's the difference between a hero and a mercenary? A hero does what's right. A mercenary will basically do whatever they're paid to do.
Exactly.
Who said heroes were good?
We have Ruby Ridge. We have No Knock Raids to prove this. We have fucking Waco to prove this. Dude, they'll kill women and children and then pose in the pictures like they're pictures.
Yeah,
it's fucking sick.
There's a bunch of people in the chat, motherfucking, asking about Arrow Shogun right now, man.
Okay, asking about. Hold on, I'm not even looking at the chat.
Like,
oh yeah,
they over here saying what up to you or not, man, motherfucking, like, yo, people missed you.
Oh, really? People missed me?
Yeah.
Wow.
People missed you.
Wow. Well, I'm doing all right. Thank you.
You loved out here, man. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, what's up, Nacho? What's up, Psycho? Shaggy Clouds. I'm just naming names I know.
Shogun, you mentioned hippies, and the thought I had was, the hippies were open to, they were welcoming, but they weren't out there trying to enforce shit. And at what point these hippies flip and become, aggressive? And now that they're making these rules, they're like, no, you have to think what I think now. We're gonna
I have to disagree with you on principle. The hippies, the whole hippie generation, and even Gen X. I don't know who's Gen X here. I'm millennial. I'm an old millennial. Who's Gen X?
I'm like, me and Mountain are Gen X.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm early millennial. I was born in '88, and I'm an early millennial.
Well, I was '87, so like, yeah, you're.
Mountain was born in like 1944.
Born between 1849 and the fall of Rome.
1744.
It just proves a point. It was like, okay, at one time, academia was controlled by the right, was it not?
No.
Academia
is inherently academia is an inherently leftist institution.
So during the 60s, the 50s and 60s, the academia wasn't right.
No.
It eventually changed. No. Correct me if I'm wrong.
To further left.
It went left to further left. Yeah. It went to straight autism.
Education is based on the Prussian factory worker setup. They have you sit there like good little children to be future factory workers.
I'm a factory worker. So's my wife. Like we respond to a fucking bell going off.
Well, the thing is, if you're a creative type and you don't want to sit still, nowadays there's just something wrong with you. You have ADHD. Take all these pills.
Or they put you in Walmart and you put your stock in shelves.
Okay, example of this. Okay, you have Neil Young, right? You have Crosby, Still, and Nash, right? You have Joni Mitchell, right? Now, weren't they all about the First Amendment like 60, 70 years ago? 50, years ago?
Because it was a way to leverage the power structure.
Now, once they have power in their persuasion, they do not want to give that to the same opposition.
It's not about the principle. It's about
no, TK, I talk to you plenty. You're a smart motherfucker. So correct me when I say these things wrong, because I'm going to say these things wrong. I'm not a smart motherfucker. Was it Frank something? When I do not have power, I ask you to apply your concepts and your beliefs to me in equal distribution. But when I do have power, I will not apply those back to you because that's how I am. Now, that's really, really fucking going on a limb there.
Paraphrase. Yeah. The basic ideology there is that certain people will appeal to your principles and then not reciprocate them.
Well, it's like the Islam question. They scream for tolerance and acceptance until they have power.
That's called hudna. That's called hudna. That's just an obfuscation so they can entrench and then they slowly start expanding. And this thing, you're playing jihad.
Well, that's the thing I'm saying though. It's the same applies to leftists.
Wait a minute. Wait. Arrow Shogun wants to motherfucking speak on the ATF. I want to.
Go ahead, Bob. Yeah, there's like
go for it.
Yeah. All right, because there's a lot that needs to be said here. I understand though people want to shoot the breeze and all, but there's a lot.
I don't want to cut you off.
Go ahead, Arrow. Go ahead.
I'm going to jump out because there's other fuckers that want to hear from me right now.
All right, my brother.
Cool. All right,
dude, he message me sometime, man. You got my number. I'm off Discord and Twitter, but message me sometime. Everyone else, it was nice meeting you guys. It was fun and psych. But like, I'm gonna hop out because I'm a freaking sign of a cigarette. Y'all later. Y'all have a good one. Later.
All right,
Deuces.
Later, Ed.
Yeah.
All right, so go ahead, Shogun. You know, what I mean, break
right.
this down.
Okay, so now you have to remember why they've all of a sudden have been going down hard on the guns all of a sudden. Because now, if there's one thing I have to agree with TFM on, is that yeah, they're kind of running low on time. You know, the deficit's getting bigger, and the bubble's going to burst on the debt. So the last thing they want, because they look at the world now and they realize, you know, people are starting to get pissed off. They're getting tired of being locked down. They're getting tired of being controlled. They're tired of vax mandates, and they're tired of having their children messed with. So when you start crossing enough lines, eventually you start poking at a bear, and if that bear attacks you, they realize that there's more of us than there are of them. We outnumber the military. There's more guns in this country than people, and we have all that. We have plenty of ammo too. I mean, we can make our own guns, we can make our own ammo and everything. And they realized that the founding fathers really put a wrench in their plans for global homo when they put in the Second Amendment, shall not be infringed. That's why they're trying to slowly but surely encroach on that right, so that eventually they want to try and completely disarm us. Now, some say that'll never happen. Some people believe that everyone will just give up their guns as the police come knocking. Now, I mean, there's two sides to that. Well, first of all, there's really not enough law enforcement or police or military to even do that. Because if they started going door to door one day, just collecting everyone's guns, I mean, it's going to take quite a while for them to do it. And eventually, some people are going to rise up and they're going to start shooting back. Because there have been instances where the ATF went to go bust some people, and those guys, they shot back, and there were some casualties on both sides. The ATF, they don't really want that because this, and I'm not saying everybody believes this, but there's some people that believe, well, mostly because they don't know anything about guns, is that body armor makes you invincible. It really doesn't. Because if you get hit, you're still going down, whether it's soft body armor, hard body armor, because that kinetic energy has to go somewhere. And if you get hit in the right spot, I mean, you could rupture a major artery in your chest, cause you to internally bleed out and die. So yeah, they don't want to get shot at. So they want to slowly but surely encroach on those rights to increase their chances. And I think that's the one thing that's keeping them from going full Australia here, is knowing that we have quite a few guns. I mean, yeah, there's a lot of registered guns here, but yet there's a lot of unregistered guns here. And they realize that's a problem, especially since people have been waking up during 2020 realizing that, oh no, the police, they're actually not going to protect me from rioters and looters, and we're going to have to get the guns and protect ourselves. And the Democrats, they realized they really messed up when they pushed more guns into the hands of civilians in record numbers than in a long, long time. They're really going to start going after ghosts pretty hard. That's why they're trying to send the message saying, yeah, we're not going to let the Amish do this anymore. And they're going to try and discourage other people from doing it too. Now, I don't recommend people get discouraged from doing it. I recommend you do it anyway, because it's not going to stop me. I mean, I've already been making my provisions to get myself, not only armed for myself, but for other people, because I've learned that not everybody that you meet or is going to be in your circles is going to wake up right away. Some people are going to wake up at the last minute, the night of broken glass, whatever you want to call it. So sometimes you have to. So I think sometimes I may have to arm somebody else. So that's why not only have I been making guns for that, but I mean, because I realize I have a lot to learn. Because I've been slacking off. Like in 2019, I was already, trying to get some more weapons, but I had a housemate screw me over because he lost his job after getting hurt. He didn't even tell me. And I had to pay the rent for both of us so that we didn't get put out, which happened anyway. Shouldn't have done it. Should have just left anyway. But, oh, well, it worked out in the end. So the thing is that our rights can only be protected by us. We can't have our rights protected by one person, by the government, because you know what happens when you put your safety and your freedom and security in the hands of the government. They're going to ruin it, and they're going to enslave you. The founding fathers knew this, and that's what happens every time, and that's why it's happening now. So,
right.
Yeah, so I forgot what I was about to say, because I mean it's kind of difficult for me to think and talk. Sometimes I have to take like a quick mental pause so I can actually remember what I'm saying. That's why some people say I say yada yada too much. But that's
well, like take your time for a second. You know what I'm saying? Like sit back, collect your shit. You know what I'm saying? Because like I do. All right. So like when we talk about what's known as the cathedral, right?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like that's what we do. Like I don't know why my shit goes from like ridiculously loud to ridiculously quiet, but like it happens anyway. So when we talk about the cathedral, right? You know what I'm saying? Because like TFM kind of got me kicked off on this mentality about the cathedral, and like I thoroughly enjoy it because once you add it to like a geopolitical ideology and start like looking at things like from the aspect of oh man, fucking psycho, goddamn it. Hang on, man. I'll give you the goddamn link. Hang on a second, buddy. You know what I'm saying? But once you start looking at it from the aspect of like why all this happened, right? As an in general thing.
Right.
Like the reason why Australia is way worse than us is the same reason why Canada is way worse than us. Right? It's because in Canada, 93% of their population lives in a metropolitan area 90 miles from fucking America. Right. So like their population is already much more reliant upon the government than ours is, because individuals inside of an urban area are always far more reliant upon their government than individuals who live outside of a city and in a rural or more rural area. Right. And then you have
check on the mic check.
Yo, what up, Psycho? Can you hear me?
Yep. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, sir.
Loud and clear.
Let me finish this up. Right. So, like,
continue.
In America, like we don't really know. Our government's really, really bad at things. Like I did a video here recently on like how many people live in the suburbs, and the government doesn't know. Like there's no number. Like nobody actually has any idea what a suburb is. Right. Like they don't have a measurement for it. They have no idea like exactly how to, you know what I mean? Later, Ed, right. They don't really know how to measure it. And so we have somewhere around like 70% of our population actually lives in a suburb. Right. And then the rest of them
I live in a suburb.
Yeah. And then the rest of them live in cities or in a rural area. Right. So we don't actually know how many human beings really exist inside of cities, which is why we've been more able to to resist all the bullshit.
You know, off of that statistic, the 70% that lives in the suburb, 25% of it lives in the city, and then 5% of it lives rural.
Okay.
Because that would complete that. Yeah. We live out of town. We deal with the city. We don't like their bullshit. And we have to abide by it anyways because the retards in the city outvote us.
Yeah. I mean,
what we really need is... Oh, no, it shouldn't. You should only be able to vote if you have actual stakes in the voting process.
Well, we had that.
If you're a taxpayer...
What if
only taxpayers should have a ability to vote?
Yeah.
What if voting?
Well, voting haven't mattered for a long time.
Well, what if voting as a whole is bad?
What if, as an in general thing, you honestly need somebody to hear what you say and then make a decision based on that? And the problem is just that the people making those decisions in this particular system, like, there's no closed loop. They just make the decisions and it stops.
Well, that's not a republic or democracy. That's
and
just
like you say that like it's a bad thing. Republics obviously have not worked. Democracies obviously do not work. So like,
okay, but fascism falls a hell of a lot quicker.
I wasn't advocating for fascism. I honestly think that...
I mean, nothing holds on forever. Eventually, everything falls.
Right. But, like...
Oh, yeah,
I definitely feel you there. But I personally think that we need an entirely different mindset of politics, because we have been in a situation for the last, 100 or 200 years since the Industrial Revolution and the advent of and the discovery, rather, of oil. That
okay,
like
then what you need to do is get rid of bloat.
Let me finish my fucking thought there, bud. Where the thing is that I think for the last 200 years we've been attributing things to ideology that are just attributable to chemistry and geology. And so what's going to happen here is, as we're going to have to start, not having calories spew out from the goddamn ground as often, at least, we'll have to figure out how to organize ourselves in a way that doesn't make sense if everybody wins, even if they lose, right? Because you got to understand the reason why capitalism has been so good at integrating even the losers is because it's been able to make it so that even the losers are materially better off in some sense. Now,
okay,
it
make
might
Agoge great again.
Well,
all right. I
no,
mean, look,
here's the problem.
How about this?
Like,
how about this? How about wait? I got an idea. All right. So, like, here's the thing. Before the 1700s, you would never think that a king or a government would rule outside of the city that it existed in, right? Like outside of its walls.
The Providence.
No, outside of the walls, right?
No, it would still be the Providence.
Yeah, but
like they still had their warlords and all that bullshit.
Like not like like you had kings or lords or whatever it was, right? But like you would never think that those individuals actually ruled over the people outside of their walls.
Right? May I throw a sideways in here, Tom? What about the 100 Years' War and the 30 Years' War?
What about it?
They had to project their power somehow.
Peloponnesian War.
Well, like again, the people of Venice.
So they had to. So how did they have the authority? How did they have the authority to muster the armies to send them out to duke it out and destroy Germany like 100 fucking times over?
Well, again, like they stood here and got people from around their area within their walls or right outside of it, right? But like you would never think that all right, so
that it's already failed before we even get out of the deal, because that's all they do is they muster their power, muster their resources, and waste it duking it out with one another.
Well, no, right? Like you would
have your mic killer.
All right, so
I'm a loud talker. Sorry.
I mean, all right. Well, like the history of like wars as an in general thing, right, isn't as prevalent as you would really think in any given area, right? Like Europe, it was because individuals, you know what I'm saying, like had to be like fucking much more territorial due to like how the geology actually breaks down inside of the motherfucking.
It was also because of language barrier.
Well, no. Like
it was mostly because of language barrier.
The rivers did not run like into like major cities, like they ran like away from shit, right? And they were actually like they would go through one country and then another, right? Which would be a pain in the fucking ass. And if you were trying to do trade by yourself with, say, like if you were Germany and you wanted to do trade with Britain, but you had to use the Rhine River, right? Like it would be, you'd have to float through fucking France in order to do so because it goes through France before it goes through more.
It's basically the Switzerland, which is our Colorado. If we were still transporting through rivers, now we have trucks, and thank God that you're still doing your job and everything, because
rivers are still
right now. Pinoid. When are you gonna riot, dude?
What do you mean ride? What?
He's not.
No, when you gonna riot?
They'll arrest him for child support.
Yeah, no.
Oh yeah, you owed like 2,800 last week.
Yeah, like I don't riot, bro. You know what I'm saying? Legit. Like I don't do that shit. That's for owner operators, right? Like people who own their own trucks, they go riot. The people who don't own their trucks, they don't riot. Like we just keep working. But anyway, right? Because like like if you take the equipment somewhere not where you belong, or within like they're fucking. If they didn't say you could take the equipment there, it's considered stealing, right? So like you can be arrested for theft. You know what I mean? It's like if you leave a trailer on the side of the road, like that's considered abandonment of equipment. It's actually a crime. They can like put you in jail over it. But anyway,
and they will come find your ass.
They will not.
Yes, of course they will. And I've actually had to make blank keys for vehicles that were abandoned on the side of the road, and I'm like, oh,
yeah,
okay.
But anyway, so like here's the mental, like so if cities want to be like provinces of their own, right, it's fine. But the thought that like they would actually be able to dictate the laws the same way they have in the cities for the individuals who lived outside of the cities is patently ridiculous. Right. And this is the problem that we have is these nation states think that they can have universal laws across the entire
No. They're not nation states, they're city states.
No, these are nation states that we have right now.
No, but they're more of city states and they're trying to portray it onto the nation.
Well, no. Like, because like when you talk about a nation state, it's because like, literally like this nation is getting laws dictated to it from a central fucking location. It's a federal.
Tom is right on this one. The United States is not federal. We're not a republic. We are a national state. We are a centralized national state now. We have been since 1861.
Yeah. Due to the fact that the states cannot leave, it's no longer considered.
No,
really
it's a national government. It's not a federal government. It's not a republic. It's a national centralized state nation.
Yeah, because like it's only a federal system if like the states are allowed to leave. Right? Because the federal means, like,
but all of those bitches were the ones who said that we're now running the rules, except for that you still have the constitutional right to defy them.
No, you don't. You do not. That is still on the books. Why do you think there's military bases in every state?
Well, here's the thing. Habeas corpus was actually repealed back in 2011.
Yep.
Under the NDAA.
Yep.
So your basic right to due process, you know what I'm saying?
Y'all need to look up National Presidential Directive 51.
I don't know about all that, but
look it up. I was briefed on it when I was in FEMA.
Is that the Patriot Act?
This only discourages me to drink more vodka.
I mean, think of it this way: when everything collapses,
2 signatures, you have a Caesar.
They'll eventually separate anyway. Eventually, just not through war.
You want
to know what FEMA's plan is for the national divorce? Is to go hide in their bunkers and let us duke it out, and then come back and act as saviors after we've killed each other off.
Here's how I look at FEMA. You've got free shit. I paid for it. Give.
Right.
Problem is
the amount of people that I can.
Their thought is we have the stockpile. We're going to take care of our shit. Fuck you. We'll come back and put it back together after you killed one another off.
Yeah, those stockpiles are pretty well armed.
That's to feed the personnel first.
That's what they think, but they lack the numbers.
Well, do you know where those supplies are?
Yeah. You can say they lack the numbers, but like end of the day, they just raise the guard and they say, "All right, you're defending this food. You keep getting fed until you stop defending this food." People are just going to sit there.
I'm not a fat piece of crap, so I can do.
Well, you aren't, but most of the National Guard are.
Everyone has a plan to get pushed in the face.
Good. As long as the National
plan survives first contact with the enemy.
As long as the National Guard is a fat piece of crap, then that means I can take their shit.
Nah, even a fat piece of crap can shoot a gun. Especially when they're behind like a concrete embankment.
Tell me how well you do when a 62-grain boat tail hits your ass.
If you're fat, it might miss your organs.
They're probably going to be spraying and praying, and they're going to be terrible in their combat efficiency, but that doesn't matter.
Best marksman I ever known. Best marksman I ever knew were the National Guard.
Oh,
yep, strength in numbers, actually.
Yeah.
Go watch Paul Harrell.
I'm sorry. I come from the state that supplies the most Marines in the entire nation, so don't know anything about combat. California.
Were you a Marine?
No.
Yeah.
No, I just beat them.
Were you in the military?
No, I beat them.
Shut the fuck up, Dan.
Welcome to P-Noise.
You ain't in the military. Shut the fuck up.
The military has rules.
No, it doesn't.
I don't.
You need to go read the Law of War manual, dipshit. You can download it for free right now, the 2021 edition. You really need to get educated. You're an idiot.
Wait, what's the idiot on? I couldn't hear about the military.
He thinks he's going to be fucking John Rambo and whoop all kinds of ass. He don't know shit.
Man,
he just insulted my fucking intelligence.
Well, good job on projection, sir.
This is one thing
I ain't projecting. You're a fucking moron.
That's your opinion, and you're entitled to
This is in the crowd, man. Yo, welcome.
All right, guys, calm down.
It ain't an opinion. It's a fact.
Here's the thing. As long as everybody shut up their goddamn sentence. Look, this is
all right, guys, let's calm down. Calm down.
All right. So anyway,
back on track.
It, man. Listen,
Shogun, what's up?
Jesus. Down the nonsense.
Okay,
like it always does.
No, I mean, just for the record, now I do see where Kuhn is coming from. I mean, it's not as simple as just like thinking like you're just going to be like from Contra, just shooting like 2 machine guns in one hand, shooting in all directions and hitting all your targets, never having to reload with infinite ammo. It's not going to be like that. And I'm not saying that's what he's thinking, but some people act like that, and that is definitely the wrong mentality to have.
Those are the first to die.
That's not what I was thinking. That's not what I was thinking at all. What I was saying is once the actual supreme people, which is all of us as a whole, go, this society does not exist anymore. The military means absolutely fucking shit compared to the people who have existed that are also veterans, who are also people who have done the things, who are also the people who are in the private sector. And this diphead who wants to say, ooh, are you military, blah, 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 bullshit, that doesn't mean anything compared to the actual greater solution. We need an actual rising up. What the fucking truckers are doing right now, who are telling our fucking nation to go fuck itself if they don't listen to us, that's what we need. That's what we need.
They're doing it peacefully.
Here's the reason why. Here's the reason why you don't see people rising up nearly as fast as you'd expect. It's because
we're all scared.
No. Let me finish. We have states that we can go to where this stuff does not apply. Like Idaho, they banned critical race theory. They're not going to impose mandates. Yeah, I mean, all these deep red states. So people tend to choose the path of least resistance first. They typically want to avoid all of the conflict first. I mean, but when you back them into the corner,
well, like
that's what I want to know. Who's taking a piss?
Have you ever read the Declaration of Independence, Psycho, by chance?
Yes.
What the hell is that noise?
I'm pouring some liquid.
I thought somebody was taking a piss.
No, I'm pouring liquid.
You gotta take a piss. I'm not gonna be mad at you, right?
No, I'm pouring liquid down the sink. I'm dumping out my drink that I left sitting up while I was asleep.
All right, so like here's the thing: if you ever read the Declaration of Independence, Psycho,
yes.
What is the majority of the Declaration of Independence? What does it say?
Wasn't it like around 30?
What's the majority of it say?
Okay, what are you asking?
I'm asking, like, what is the content in the Declaration of Independence? Like, what does it go over?
Freedom.
No, it does not. That's not what it goes over.
Okay, how the state cannot regulate freedom.
No, that's not what the Declaration of Independence goes over.
Yes, it is.
No, it's not. The Declaration of Independence, actually, the majority of the content is how, like, they tried to redress their grievances with England, right? And the repeated motherfucking infractions against, like, the colonists, you know what I'm saying, who actually lived in the U.S. at that time.
Okay, so any law that is
here's the thing.
Any law that's unjustified is an affront to freedom.
No. What I'm telling you is that, like, before people like take up arms and try to go to war with the government, they're going to go through every like way of legally trying to do something first.
Tom, do you want me to go ahead and read the first paragraph of the Declaration?
May as well read.
I got mine too.
Please do. Please do.
Actually, you should. I would appreciate that. You got a fantastic voice.
Appreciate you. When in the course of human events it becomes necessary for one people to dissolve the political bands which have connected them with another and to assume among the powers of the earth the separate and equal station to which the laws of nature and of nature's God entitle them, a decent respect to the opinions of mankind requires that they should declare the causes which impel them to the separation. So right there, they're saying, we have grievances. This is a list of grievances in our solution that we are enumerating to it.
Yo, please
Yeah,
keep going.
I want
keep going.
freedom.
Keep going.
Okay.
Keep going, because we're going to turn this into an education for motherfuckers tonight. All right.
All right.
Because this is important to understand, like, what exactly happened. Instead of like romanticizing it, let's get into some of these like actual details. Please keep going, TK.
Yeah, it's a divorce letter to the King of
I'm
England.
fucking horny now.
All right. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, that to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, deriving their powers from the consent of the governed, that whenever any form of government becomes destructive of those ends, it is the right of the people to alter or abolish it, and to institute new government, laying its foundation on such principles and organizing its power in such form as to them shall seem most likely to affect their safety and happiness. Prudence, indeed, will dictate that governments long established should not be changed for light and transient causes. And accordingly, all experience hath soon that mankind are more disposed to suffer, while evils are more sufferable than to right themselves by abolishing the forms to which they are accustomed. But when a long train of abuses and usurpations, pursuing invariably the same object, evinces a design to reduce them under absolute despotism, it is their right, it is their duty to throw off such government, and to provide new guards for their future security. Such has been the patient sufferance of these colonies, and such is now the necessity which constrains them to alter their former systems of government. The history of the present King of Britain is a history of repeated injuries and usurpations, all having in direct object the establishment of an absolute tyranny over these states. To prove this, let facts be submitted to a candid world. Do you want me to keep going, Tom?
This is the part that I really. This is the part that I really care about. This is the part that I wanted you to get into. This is the big part of this. Go ahead.
Okay. He has refused to assent to laws, the most wholesome.
Wait. TK, can I bug you really quick?
Go for it. Am I not loud? Am I not loud enough?
No, you're good.
No. Usurper. The word is usurper.
Usurper.
No, it's usurpations. I'm reading it with mine. I got a physical copy.
It's usurpations.
It's written as usurpations. It's the act of.
The first one was usurper, where it's the individual's right to say fuck the government.
Look, seriously, I don't care.
That's where it all goes down.
Shut up and listen.
Shut up and listen.
All right.
TK, please continue.
He has refused his assent to laws, the most wholesome and necessary for the public good. He has forbidden his governors to pass laws of immediate and pressing importance unless suspended in their operation till his assent should be obtained, and when so suspended, he has utterly neglected to attend them. He has refused to pass other laws for accommodation of larger districts of people unless those people would relinquish the right of representation in the legislature, a right inestimable to them and formidable to tyrants only. He has called together legislative bodies at places unusual, uncomfortable, and distant from the depository of their public records for the sole purpose of fatiguing them into compliance with his measures.
That's what we have today. That's the voter stipulations.
Yeah, he has dissolved
it's not even the voters.
representative houses repeatedly for opposing with manly firmness his invasion on the rights of the people. He has refused for a long time after such dissolutions to cause others to be elected, whereby the legislative powers incapable of annihilation have returned to the people at large for their exercise. The state remaining in the meantime exposed to all the dangers of invasion from without and convulsions within. He has endeavored to prevent the population of these states for that purpose, obstructing the laws for naturalization of foreigners, refusing to pass others to encourage their migrations hither, and raising conditions of new appropriations of land. He has obstructed the administration of justice by refusing his assent to laws for establishing judiciary powers. He has made judges dependent on his will alone for the tenure of their offices and the amount and payment of their salaries.
Bar societies.
Yeah, he has erected a multitude of new offices and sent whither swarms of officers to harass our people and eat out their substance. He has kept among us in times of peace standing armies without the consent of our legislators. He has affected to render the military independent of and superior to the civil power. He has combined with others to subject us to a jurisdiction foreign to our Constitution and unacknowledged by our laws, giving his assent to their acts of pretended legislation. For quartering large bodies of armed troops among us, for protecting them by a mock trial from punishment for any murders which they should commit on the inhabitants of these states, for cutting off our trade with all parts of the world, for imposing taxes without our consent, for depriving us in many cases of the benefit.
Ashley Babbitt,
Yeah. For depriving us in many cases of the benefit of trial by jury, for transporting us beyond the seas to be tried for these pretended offenses, for abolishing the free system of English laws in a neighboring province, establishing therein an arbitrary government, and enlarging its boundaries so as to render it at once an example and fit instrument for introducing the same absolute rule into these colonies. For taking away our charter's ability, for taking away our charters, abolishing our most valuable laws, and altering fundamentally the forms of our government, for suspending our own legislatures and declaring themselves invested with power to legislate for all of us and for us in all cases whatsoever. He has abdicated government here by declaring us out of his protection and waging war against us. He has plundered our seas, ravaged our coasts, burnt our towns, and destroyed the lives of our people. He is at this time transporting large armies of foreign mercenaries to complete the works of death, desolation, and tyranny already begun with circumstances of cruelty and perfidy scarcely paralleled in the most barbarous ages and totally unworthy of the head of a civilized nation. He has constrained our fellow citizens taken captive on the high seas to bear arms against their country, to become the executioners of their friends and brethren, or to fall themselves at their hands. I think we lost Psycho.
It's cool. I don't care.
He said he'd be back, I think.
Oh, I'm sorry. All right. He has excited domestic insurrections among us and has endeavored to bring on the inhabitants of our frontiers, the merciless Indian savages, whose known rule of warfare, the merciless Indian savages whose known rule of warfare is indistinguished destruction, is an indistinguished destruction of all ages, sexes, and conditions.
No rules of engagement, in other words.
Yeah. In every stage of these oppressions, we have petitioned for redress in the most humble terms. Our repeated petitions have been answered only by repeated injury. A prince whose character is thus marked by every act which may define a tyrant is unfit to be the ruler of a free people. Nor have we been wanting in attentions to our British brethren. We have warned them from time to time of attempts by their legislature to extend unwarrantable jurisdiction over us. We have reminded them of the circumstances of our immigration and settlement here. We have appealed to their native justice and magnanimity, and we have conjured them by the ties of our common kindred to disavow these usurpations, which would inevitably interrupt our connections and correspondence. They too have been deaf to the voice of justice and consanguinity. We must therefore acquiesce in necessity which denounces our separation, and hold them, as we hold the rest of mankind, enemies in war, enemies in war, in peace friends. We therefore, the representatives of the United States of America in General Congress, assembled, appealing to the Supreme Judge of the world for the restitude of our actions, do in the name by the authority of the good people of these colonies solemnly publish and declare that these united colonies are, and of right ought to be, free and independent states, that they are absolved of all allegiances to the British Crown, and that all political connections between them and the state of Great Britain is and ought to be totally dissolved, and that as free and independent states, they have the full power to levy war, conclude peace, contract allies, establish commerce, and do all other acts and things which independent states may of right do.
Walmart, we own you.
And for the support of this declaration, with firm reliance on the protection of divine providence, we mutually pledge to each other our lives, our fortunes, and our sacred honor.
Welcome
and then a bunch of
Walmart.
faggots signed it, I guess.
All right, so like this, understand something, okay? Like you have to remember, like long before like individuals went to war for revolution, right? They sat here and tried to, you know what I'm saying, redress their grievances with the government. Right. They wrote, they asked, they fucking begged, they went to court, they did all the things that they could do long before, like, they said, let the blood flow in the fucking streets. And that's why it is that like Americans aren't taking up arms or fighting or protesting. You know what I mean? Like, they're going to do everything.
That's why I'm saying it's the welcome to Walmart fucking bullshit.
What?
What
the fuck?
Welcome to Walmart. I don't care. I don't get anything of a fucking advance in society as long as I get a paycheck. Welcome to Walmart. And so many people are taking those jobs right now.
Well, it's not necessarily that. It's that, like, for an example here, even if an injustice is visited upon you, that does not necessarily radicalize you to the most extreme response you can have. For example, let me.
What sort of injustice are you talking about?
Any number of injustices, to be honest, as long as you
they're
have
not allowed in my house.
Yeah. But, like, if we're talking about injustices visited upon you by specifically the state, you do have some avenues to redress your grievance. If, for example, there's No, there's actual ways to redress your grievances through the actual system.
I'm sorry, you break in my door, I kill you.
How much gun violence is there in Ottawa right now?
Yeah.
And how much change have they brought about?
Right. My point is more of like if there is civil asset forfeiture right now, there is ways to at least try to get it back. If you get your kid taken away from you by CPS, there are ways that if you have enough money, you can try to get it back. I know I just referred to as a child as it, but I'm going to move on. There are technically
all of the grievances that we're talking about, right, can be addressed through the court system, right? And
Right.
that's what individuals are doing. And like once it's addressed through the court system to the point of where like it is found to be unconstitutional what they are doing, right? Like the fucking laws are null and void. Right. So like these grievances can be redressed first before you turn to, you know what I'm saying, let's go and like clog up the streets.
That falls under the just war principle. You must exhaust any and all lawful and legal means before you go to the bullet box.
Yes, that's the rule. You know what I mean? And so like that's why. And people are comfortable. You know what I mean? And like like for instance, here in PA, like when all that fucking shit happened with you know what I mean, the fucking shit with like fucking what they're teaching our kids and shit, that nonsense, whatever it is, right?
The CRT.
The CRT shit. Like what we did is we kicked the national school boards the fuck out of PA. You threw them out
through local elections, which you can't go from abstaining from the process to violence. It doesn't work like that.
We did not.
You'll still be left with ineptitude.
Yeah, we just threw them out.
Yeah. This is actually something a lot of states are doing. My state, I think, is going to have a referendum on it, but
we didn't even have an election.
Yeah, I know you didn't, but like you don't have state schools as a part of your goddamn state constitution. We do, so like we have to do these extra kind of steps. But yeah, I think it was Utah that just threw them out unilaterally as well, because the state school board association is actually a completely voluntary association. It's just attached to funding. So if you have a state that like is willing to pay for your local schools, you know, one way or another, you can just not be a part of the association and you don't have to deal with them.
Yeah. And Fishmel said, "What up, Arrow Shogun?"
I think he's AFK.
His roommates are fighting and shit, squabbling.
Or someone probably hit his car again.
Like, yeah, but you know, I mean, fucking, like, yeah, it's like, and this is what everybody needs to understand is that, like, long before like anything pops off, right? They're going to try and do all this shit legally, and if legally we can't get no justice in the fucking courts, then yeah, you know, I mean, you turn to the motherfucking bullet and shit.
Yeah,
like,
the founding fathers, they all exhausted everything before war. War was their last option.
Hey, Tom.
What up?
May I read the Declaration of Independence for Texas that we did in 1836? It's not very long. Not long.
If it's not long,
it's not as long as it's not that very long. I won't read the whole thing, but I'll read enough of it.
All right, go ahead.
It's from March 2nd, 1836. Is when a government has ceased to protect the lives, liberty, and property of the people, from whom its legitimate powers are derived from, and for the advancement of whose happiness it was instituted, and so far from being a guarantee of their inestimable and inalienable rights, becomes an instrument in the hands of evil rulers for their oppression, when the federal republican constitution of their country, which they have sworn to support, no longer has a substantial existence, and for the whole nature of their government has been forcibly changed without their consent from a restrictive federal republic composed of sovereign states to a consolidated central military despotism in which every interest is disregarded but that of the army and the priesthood, both the eternal enemies of civil liberty, the ever ready minions of power, and the unusual instruments of tyrants, when long after the spirit of the Constitution has departed, moderation is at length so far lost by those in power that even the semblance of freedom is removed, and the forms themselves the Constitution discontinued, and so far from their petitions and remonstrances being regarded, the agents who bear them are thrown into dungeons, and mercenary armies set forth to enforce a new government upon them at the point of the bayonet. When, in the consequence of such acts of malfeasance and abduction on the part of the government, anarchy prevails and civil society is dissolved into its original elements, in such a crisis, the first law of nature, the right of self-preservation, the inherent and inalienable right of the people to appeal to first principles and take their political affairs into their own hands in extreme cases, enjoins it as a right toward themselves and a sacred obligation to their posterity to abolish such a government and create another in its stead calculated to rescue them from impending dangers and secure their welfare and happiness. Nations as well as individuals are amenable for their acts to the public opinion of mankind. A statement of a part of our grievances is therefore submitted into an impartial world in justification for the hazardous but unavoidable step now taken of our severing our political connection with the Mexican people and assuming an independent attitude among the nations of the earth. The Mexican government, by its colonization laws, invited and induced the Anglo-American population of Texas to colonize its wilderness under the pledged faith of a written constitution, that they should continue to enjoy the constitutional liberty and republican government to which they had been habituated in the land of their birth, the United States of America. In this expectation, they have been cruelly disappointed, inasmuch as the Mexican nation has acquiesced to the late changes made in the government by General Antonio Lopez de Santa Anna, who, having overturned the constitution of his country, now offers as a cruel alternative either to abandon our homes, acquired by so many privations, or submit to the most intolerable of all tyranny, the combined despotism of the sword and the priesthood. It has sacrificed our welfare to the state of Coahuila, by which our interests have been continually deprived through a jealous and impartial course of legislation carried on as far a distant seat of government by a hostile majority in an unknown tongue, and to this notwithstanding, we have petitioned in the humblest terms for establishment of a separate state government and have, in accordance with the provisions of the National Constitution, presented to the General Congress a Republican Constitution which was, without a just cause, contemptuously rejected. It incarcerated in a dungeon for a long time one of our citizens for no other cause but a zealous endeavor to procure the acceptance of our Constitution and the establishment of a state government. It had failed and refused to secure on a firm basis the right of trial by jury, that palladium of civil liberty, and only safe guarantee for the life, liberty, and property of its citizens. It has failed to establish any public system of education, though it possessed almost all boundless resources, the public domain, and although it is an axiom in the political science that unless a people are educated and enlightened, it is idle to expect the continuance of civil liberty or the capacity for self-government. It has suffered the military commandants stationed among us to exercise arbitrary acts of oppression and tyranny, thus trampling upon the most sacred rights of the citizen and rendering the military superior to the civil power. It has dissolved by force of arms the State Congress of Coahuila y Tejas and obligated our representatives to fly for their lives from the seat of government, thus depriving us of fundamental political right of representation. It has demanded the surrender of a number of our citizens and ordered military detachments to seize and carry them into the interior for trial in contempt of the civil authorities and in defiance of the laws and the Constitution. It has made piratical attacks upon our commerce by commission in foreign desperadoes and authorizing them to seize our vessels and convey the property of our citizens to far distant parts for confiscation. It has denied us also the right of worshiping the Almighty according to the dictates upon our own conscience by the support of a national religion circulated to promote the temporal interest of its human function arises rather than to the glory of the true and living God. It has demanded us to deliver up our arms, which are essential to our defense, the rightful property of free men and formidable only to tyrannical governments. It has invaded our country both by sea and by land with the intent to lay waste to our territory and drive us from our homes, as now a large mercenary army advancing to carry on against us a war of extermination. It has, through its emissaries, incited the merciless savage with a tomahawk and scalping knife to massacre the inhabitants of our defenseless frontiers. It has been, during the whole time of our connection with it, the contemptible sport and victim of successful military revolutions, and hath continually exhibited every characteristic of a weak, corrupt, and tyrannical government. These other grievances were patiently borne by the people of Texas until they reached the point at which their forbearance ceases to be a virtue. We then took up arms in defense of the national Constitution. We have appealed to our Mexican brethren for assistance, but our appeal has been made in vain. Though months have elapsed, no sympathetic response has been yet heard from the interior. We are therefore forced to the melancholy conclusion that the Mexican people have acquiesced in the destruction of their liberty and the substitution, therefore, of a military government, that they are unfit to be free and incapable of self-government. The necessity of self-preservation, therefore, now decrees our eternal political separation. We, therefore, the delegates, with plenary power of the people of Texas, in solemn convention assembled, appealing to the candid world for the necessities of our condition, do hereby resolve and declare that our political connection with the Mexican nation has forever ended, and that the people of Texas now constitute a free, sovereign, and independent republic, and are fully invested with all rights and attributes which properly belong to all independent nations, and to the conscious of the rectitude of our intentions, we fearlessly and confidently commit the issue to the supreme arbiter of destinies of nations. And then all the delegates.
Got you. All right. So, like, I want to address this comment from Sean Hawkins real quick, because this is important, right? Shut the fuck up. Like, I'm so tired of these motherfuckers. Like, you're legit, all right? You have to understand, this is a strike, all right? This is what a strike looks like. They're not here to starve you out. They're not here to motherfucking, like, take away, like, your fucking food. What they're here to do is they're going, yo, look, motherfucker, we bring you your food. You don't get to tell us what to do. It's that simple. It's not organized by the New World Order or the Rothschilds or the fucking Jews or the Masons or the 33rd degree Masons, where 33 minus 13 is still 33. No, it's none of that fucking dumb shit. All right. This is a goddamn trucker strike. This has happened a bunch of times before, but you never seen it while you were alive, because of the fact that, like, yo, life was pretty good when, like, credit was stupid cheap and everything costed a very low amount of money. When you could buy a house for 30 grand, this was not an issue. Now when it's 380,000, it is an issue. All right. It's a whole different thing, and the ball game has fucking changed. All right. None of this is controlled by the New World Order. New World Order doesn't even fucking exist. All right. Like, most of y'all motherfuckers think the UN and the goddamn motherfucking WHO and the motherfucking WTO and all these stupid alphabet agencies are actually running shit. They're just a bunch of rich people getting together to fucking pat each other on the back and jerk each other off in the bathroom while they do fucking bumps off the fucking rails in the motherfucking handicap joint. All right. It's nothing more than that. Y'all need to chill the fuck out and stop acting like motherfucking this is some giant conspiracy to starve out the common people and shit. It's not. All right, shut the fuck up. Like,
I just got back. So my housemates, one of them was drunk, and the other one was really pissed off, and they were started getting into a fight. They almost got into a complete fist fight. I had to break it up. So I missed out on everything that's been going on ever since the whole, like, was it the Declaration of Independence or whatever you guys were reading? I forgot exactly what
it was. The U.S. Declaration of Independence, and Kuhn treated us to the Texas Declaration of Independence. Which, by the way, if you look at the parallels, obviously it's almost 100 years older, so they obviously did their reading, they did their history lessons, right? And they modeled
the Constitution of Texas. I've got it. I was reading from my Constitution. It has the Declaration first in the Constitution of Texas. Hell, it's better written than the U.S. Constitution, in my opinion.
Well, that was their model, and that's 100 years older, but they were obviously going through the same things, which then tells me what you're dealing with is human nature and how people in power were taking out of the same playbook before everything changed. What we have now is, all right, so first of all, when it comes to the WEF and their wishes, right, it's one thing to have a great idea and a grand strategy, but then you have to actually implement it. And that comes down to tactics. And if the people that you issue your orders to are unwilling or incompetent, then it's a bad idea at the end of the day, because it's not going to get done. And that's why we have so much failure with policies, because, well, some people are not that into doing the job, or they're just unwilling to do the job, and the execution is poor. Right? It's very different than military. In military, you're fully dedicated to the mission, and you complete your mission. And if you're just doing it for, paycheck and bennies, it is what it is. You clock out at the end of the day, and I'll leave it for tomorrow. Don't do anything today that you can leave for tomorrow, right? So with these poorly educated people churned out every 6 months, right? I'm going to touch on a lot of things here. You have, like Tom said, these liberal arts majors, right? Useless degrees, underwater basket weaving, fucking how to put makeup on monkeys, doctorate. It doesn't contribute You know, I know there's a lot of railing on boomers lately, like, oh, you're just sopping up, you know, you're cannibalizing the young. But these people built shit for utility. The stuff they left behind, everybody can use. The difference is nowadays people are making money, and it's just money. It's just fiat dollars. There's not a lot of stuff being built here for people to use. It's all personal. It's the atomization. It's no coincidence that the campuses are producing atomized centers of power. Everyone's an empowered person. Everyone's entitled to tell you how you should address them. Like, there is no more common ground. There is no more public. You're not entitled to anything shared. It's like, no, I'm here now, so you have to call me by these pronouns, and you have to acquiesce to these demands that are in my head. It's no longer shared space. It's this space is my space. I'm going to tell you what to do. And that shit dies when the people in the cities who are trained to do this kind of thing and trained in that, when it all breaks down, and the people who actually do the lifting and the heavy work and put the shit together and build it and fix it and maintain it, as they move to the right and say, you know what, fuck you, fix it yourself, and they can't, that's when they come to their senses. And that is going to be the line that's drawn between the cities and the land. The people who can survive in the land have no interest.
The producers versus the consumers.
That's it. And there's going to be a clear line. You know, right now those lines are fudged because of this agency. So when you talk about alphabet letter agencies, that the key word in there is in the name, agency. They're given agency to come in and enforce their will. So the city slickers are making the rules for the country folk. And I got to say, I don't know to you, but to me, when you read the Declaration of Independence, the grievances felt, it almost feels like we're dealing with the King of England here in our midst. It's almost the same thing. It's not as bad, obviously.
We're getting close, but we're nowhere near there yet.
But it's on that track. That's the trajectory we're on, and that's what the feeling is, right? But we have a lot of people that are mixed. They're kind of mixed, but you're seeing shakeout. Like, people were exiting. Like, let me tell you something, man. In the city, in New York, right? Workers are leaving. They're going back to their home countries. They're like, fuck this. I'm afraid I'm going to get stabbed for my tools on the way from the truck to the job. You know, you got to look over your shoulder with this, you know, light on crime bullshit. It's affecting people for real. And it's going to take these decision makers a long time to finally wake up and say, well, maybe it was a bad idea. Help us. You know,
of course, I'm seeing like a U-Haul truck at my job almost a few times a week. And every time I talk to the person, like, yeah, I'm from New York. Like, ah, shit, here we go.
Yep.
Yeah, they're fleeing places like fucking New York at this point. Like, yo, New York is losing people. Like, yo, people talk, like, I heard somebody the other day talk about Chicago, how, like, you know, fucking it has a proper growth or whatever it is. I'm like, bro, it like has like fucking 1/3 of the people it used to have. Like, people have
been moving away from California for years, even before all this COVID bullshit.
But that's why this ATF raid, because it indicates their mentality. They're coming after you, right? They're coming after you. We're going to disarm you no matter where you are, no matter who you are. Like, nothing is sacred, right? It's just the mentality that we get to tell you what to do. And
man, listen, I have my microphone muted, and so like when I turned it back on, it like fucking immediately picked up like the fucking heating vent beside me, right? Yeah. Because like when you turn it back on, it has to like adjust, and it took too much time or whatever it was. So like I turned it off until the fucking heat went off, and then turned it back on. I want to read this. I want to read this real quick. This is from 1683, right? It's just like one paragraph, right? Because no people can be truly happy, though under the greatest enjoyment of civil liberties, if abridged of the freedom of their consciousnesses. As to the religious profession and worship, and Almighty God being the only Lord of conscience, Father of lights and spirits, and the author as well as object of all divine knowledge, faith, and worship, who only doth enlighten the minds and persuade and convince understanding the people, I do hereby grant and declare that no persons or persons inhabiting this province or territories shall confess and acknowledge one Almighty God and the Creator, upholder, and ruler of the world, and profess him or themselves obliged to live quietly under the civil government, shall be in any case molested or prejudiced in his or their person or estate because of his or their conscientious persuasion or practice, nor be compelled to frequent or maintain any religious worship, place or ministry contrary to his or her mind, or do any or to do or suffer any other act or thing contrary to their religious persuasion. And this is what I'm saying about the Amish in my neck of the woods. Literally, they've been protected since 16 fucking 83.
Yeah, they are protected. They are a true private protected people. They're not enfranchised. They are protected.
Oh, I was going to ask, because I saw the title in your video. The ATF went after the Amish or whatever.
Yeah. This is like the 8th time I went over it, but like, so like the ATF came in and snatched 600 guns from the Amish man's barn, right? And this Amish guy basically, like, he collected guns and then like he sold them to his neighbors or whatever it was, right? And the ATF came in and took all of his weapons and said, we don't know if it's a crime what he's doing, but we're just gonna take him just in case.
Yeah, civil asset
forfeiture. God damn it!
This was exactly 1 month ago today.
Like that, and they were going to try to probably nail him for straw purchasing, but I don't think they can make it stick.
Well, it's it's not just it's like Amish people legally, like they're protected from like having to get IDs or social security cards or having their picture taken, all this type of shit, right? What I mean? Like, so therefore, they like don't have to have like identification, so they can't like legally buy like new shit. They have to buy all their stuff secondhand or whatever it is, or they they go to like gun dealers who are local in our neck of the woods. And like, again, they have been doing business the same way with the Amish since fucking 1683. Then understand that this is just how it's done with them.
Well, I was going to say this earlier to back up Shogun. I personally know people that have been buying guns in preparation for stuff since their grandfathers got home in World War II.
Wise, very wise.
And you got to understand, that was from 1945 to 1986. You could purchase machine guns with just paying the tax. And up until 1960, you didn't have to have a background check.
And yep, that's true. But even then, now the thing about machine guns is that the government likes to say, the machine guns are really dangerous because, they have a higher rate of fire, can kill more people faster, and blah, blah, blah. So now, nobody's really using machine guns to do mass shootings and stuff like that.
No. I didn't quantify what I was meaning by machine gun. Look up Knob Creek, Kentucky machine gun shootout.
Okay.
Look them up and enjoy Knob Creek, Kentucky machine gun shootout. You'll enjoy the videos.
All right. Knob Creek.
Knob Creek, Kentucky machine gun shootouts.
Okay. Knob Creek.
Anyway, right? Like,
but there was a reason. I'm sorry. There was a reason why I was bringing up the machine gun thing. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off. But
go ahead, man. Please.
Right,
like,
so
you want to get your point in. Like, get it done.
All right. Right. So the thing is that someone can build a machine gun if they really wanted to.
Of course.
The thing is that the average law-abiding citizen does not want to risk 10 years in jail plus a $250,000 fine just to have a machine gun like M16.
Well, that and they're a pain in the ass to build.
Well, yeah, it's not exactly that trivial to build. I mean, yeah, you can occasionally get yourself like an M16 parts kit, and you'll have some AKs that are originally made in full auto configuration, but it's not as easy as just putting those together and then making a machine gun. So that's one reason why my state banned fully automatic parts and fully automatic guns, because they've probably seen too many action movies thinking automatic weapons are scary and they're dangerous and only the police should have them, only the military should have them. So we're going to ban all those, and we're going to ban the parts, and has been that way since '94. It's really retarded. So you can't even get those kits shipped here. You have to ship them to the next state over, and then you got to drive them over, and then convert it to semi-auto.
That's why I love Florida.
Yeah, that's why I miss Florida. I still have 4 of my guns over there.
Yeah, I was going to say, why you were going to move here, but then you didn't? What happened?
I did move there, but then I lost my job and I had to move back because this state is where the unemployment is. And I knew it was going to be harder to find a job there in my field than it would be up here. So that's why I came back.
Where next to where I live, where I got some of my licenses, they actually even have a class to shoot M4s. That's how great Florida is.
And you know what? I've actually heard about there's a shooting range where you can go there and then you can shoot your fully automatic weapons.
Yep. There's one in Austin. There's a couple.
M4 and AR-15s.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Training classes.
Yeah.
So to me, what this ATF maneuver does is it sets the bar very, very low. because anything else is going to be a win. You know, as just a regular Joe soap, I'd rather see a story about confiscating, disarming a violent drug gang, or something
Pinoid,
like that.
didn't the USDA try to nail the Amish a few years back for raw milk, and then they sued and was able to smack the USDA down or something? I remember hearing something about it, but I don't remember.
Yeah. Fucking
the USDA tried to do the same shit.
Actually, the PA division of the ACLU came in and just told me to eat a dick.
Yeah.
I think I heard that from your video.
In Pennsylvania, the rule is you don't fuck with the Amish. That's the rule here.
Yeah,
legit. It's a very basic thing. There are people who you do fuck with, the people you don't fuck with. The Amish are people you don't fuck with. They're in that category.
Even the mob don't fuck with them.
Right.
They're great. Why would you want to fuck with them?
Right. I mean, the feds. The feds will mess with anybody that they see as a threat to their power, and they'll do it to make an example of everybody else.
No, they're not thinking that far.
They're not that smart.
They're not. No. They're not thinking. They are. So all right. I'm gonna tell you a story about me going to court. Right.
All right.
I was on bail for 3 years. Right, facing 15 years, and everybody kept asking me. The same question. It was oh man, what do you think? What are they saying? What are you thinking? This type of thing. Right. And eventually, I came down to this truth of what it is that you're a box at Amazon. Right. Who a worker packed last Thursday at noon or at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. That Amazon worker doesn't remember you, just like the court doesn't remember you in the same way.
Like assembly line?
Yeah. That's what this is. They're not making an example out of anybody. They're just a dumb machine that doesn't work.
That and they're just doing something so they can pretend they're doing a job so they don't get fired.
No. They're doing what they think they're supposed to do because they're fucking dumb. Right? They're literally, it's just a giant machine that's completely broken. And if you get in its path, it's just going to roll you over. That's what the government is.
It's a boulder rolling down a hill.
Yeah, it doesn't even notice you. Right? You're an ant as a boulder rolls down the hill. That's what you are. Right? Mm-hmm. That's what this Amish guy is. The government doesn't even know it did this.
It's too big to know. They don't even know how many laws are in the books. They even admitted it.
They have no idea. If you look on Google and go, how many laws are there? And it'll say, we don't know. It'll say somewhere between 15,000 and 50,000. And that's a rather large thing. And that's just a federal level.
I'm going through the U.S. code right now. Try 100,000.
And there's no way.
If you look it up on Google, they don't know.
Well, I know, but I'm going through the U.S. code. When you look at the annotation of the U.S. code, it's 100,000 codes, statutes, and regulations.
It's like you said with the military.
And the worst part is there's no way that you can follow all of those laws.
And that's just federal. That's not state and local codes.
Right, because I hear that some people, I think it's estimated 6 laws you break a day, not even knowing they exist.
You commit 6 felonies a day that you don't even know.
Yeah, there's a special on John Stossel, I remember, where these little girls were selling lemonade, and the cops told them they couldn't, and so the mom went to the judge, and even the judge was like, "Wait, that's against the law? What the fuck?" Not even the judge knew.
A lot of obscure laws. That's why when it gets to the judicial, so the ATF, like I was saying earlier, is just packaging up for the judicial system, and it's their problem. All they do is, jot down the facts and set it up and hand it off. And they get, they're hitting their numbers, so whatever. But, the thing about it is when you finally get to judicial, it's supposed to be built upon God's law. And when you're talking to a judge, it's almost like a doctor who takes a Hippocratic oath. The judge is supposed to be operating on the level that, we have man's law.
I'm watching the chat, man. I'm watching the chat, my brother. You know what I'm saying? I just, we got 23 people in the chat. You know what I'm saying? I'm not putting them all up. And we have 6 people on the stream, so I can't just keep interrupting the motherfucking, put.
It's all right. I'm actually gotta go to bed. Y'all take care.
All right, see you for man.
All right. I'm gonna do the same, y'all.
All right. Well, I'm saying it's been 2 hours and 15 minutes. We can probably shut this down, but thank you everybody for coming out. You know what I'm saying? Mountain Arrow Showdown, Florida, man, TK, motherfucking Coon, man. Listen, fucking Psycho and everybody else who showed up. Forget who else was here. You know what I mean? It is what it is. You know what I mean? But like, I just wanted to drop this live stream because I felt like it was important to do a live stream on a Sunday night. You know, I hope everybody, you know what I'm saying, made some money on the Super Bowl. I'm upset I lost money on the Bengals. Like, yo, God damn it, motherfuckers.
Rip.
Like, yo,
Who won? I was asleep. I missed all of it. Who the hell won? I ain't even looked at news yet, so I don't know what the hell's going on.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm not the biggest sports fan on the planet, but even I knew better than to bet on the Bengals.
Yo, listen, all right, yo, look, I'm a fucking, you know, I'm a whatchamacallit, I'm a hopeful individual when it comes down to it.
Shit.
You poor fucking gorilla.
Yeah.
Hey, Tom.
Hey, Pinoid, I got some oceanfront property in Arizona. I want you to take a look at.
A word? Yo, holler at me. What up, Mountain?
You got any greater takeaway from this whole ATF thing?
Not really.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I just wanted to point it out, you know what I mean? And like have a basic discussion about it. And like wanted to get kind of deep on the mentality of like what the Amish really are, you know, but it kind of got derailed. You know, I mean, it is what it is. Like we'll have some conversations about it then, and maybe we'll like do a deeper take about some of this shit, you know, because like I feel like it's the Amish are like the evidence and the proof of what like Western civilization's actually about. Right. It's a parallel society living inside of our society that we're completely okay with. And it's the best thing that it's the most complicated thing a ruler can do is, you know, I mean, like create almost what would be called like a human zoo. Right. And that's what the Amish are. Right. They're literally an ecosystem upon themselves. And
microclimate.
We just let it go. Right. And we don't touch it. And that's amazing for a government to do, not fuck with something that beautiful. Like, you know, the most important thing in some things is not touching them, and we're touching them. And I don't like that shit. It's like touching whatever. Like back in the day, we said don't touch a bird, and bird won't pick it back up. We know it's not true now, but you know, that's the best thing you can do possibly. Sometimes is just not fuck with shit. You know,
right?
Leave people the fuck alone. That's my values.
You know that's my mentality.
Do all the heroin you want. Good luck with it. Leave my money alone.
You know,
leave my guns alone at that.
Yeah,
that too. Yeah.
You know, sometimes like you just like to see like every once in a while I meet somebody online, you know, who's like so like just naive and just normal, and you don't like you want to protect them, but like you don't want to like push your bullshit onto them at the same time. You know what I mean? So you try to like avoid them as best you can, but you want to like try to tell everybody else, like, man, listen, don't black pill that one. They seem like they're okay and like they're a good person. You know what I mean? Let's not ruin them. You know what I mean? Like, yo, that's the mentality.
Word.
Like that's the mental. Anyway, yo, look.
You live long enough, everyone gets black pilled.
Right. Well, one more thing before we go. Just one quick thing before we go. Just remember, ATF wants to make a ruling on pistol braces and 80% receivers. Just like, you know, I was talking about, well, they're trying to come for the ghost guns first because, you know, they're trying to make a case and wah. So they're trying to drop it by June. So I recommend if you want to get yourself some 80% frames. I know I'm already am. I mean, I've been doing that before since last year and the year before, but I'm getting everything I can just in case.
By the way, Pinoid, have you done any videos on that Earn It Act, whatever? Some bullshit I heard about.
The what?
Earn It Act, where they're trying to let the government decrypt people's computers or some shit, go through the back doors.
No, they can already do that.
Yeah, they've already had that power, dude. Like that's not something new. Right?
True. Yeah.
I mean, they're just coming out in the open with it. But like, I haven't done anything on that. But you might want to check out the the local cops in Kansas and Cali are snatching fucking armored car shipments of cash.
Yeah, I saw your video on that one.
Yeah,
that was a good video. I like that one.
I used to work with those people. I know what they have. Like, really? They're gonna go out to those brinks? Wow.
Yeah, you know, I mean, like it's fucking bananas, right? Anyway, we're gonna get out of here. You know what I'm saying? Get yourself some motherfucking go sub to Quantum motherfucking podcast. Check out Arrow Shogun's channel. Make sure you sub, drop a like, hit the Patreon. You know, I mean, support the channel if you like this content. Peace be like one, motherfuckers.